Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to Rise and Shine College Football. I'm your host, Jason Watkins, and if you love college football, you know you're in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss one moment of Hall of Fame college football. Welcome into the show, everybody. Look at there. Kimberly K, Shelby, Sooner Fan 71, Steak Cat, Bishop Frank, Nelio. Hey, look at there, man. We got a group in here already. Eddie Black, Ben G. Man, all kinds of folks in here already. And I actually have a guest in for the show. She is an LSU fan, so be nice to her. Welcome into the show, Jamie. She's going to be in just with voice for a little while. Welcome to the show, Jamie.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on this morning.
How you doing?
I'm finally getting better. Hopefully. Yeah,
Good.
the sinus surgery and then the reaction was not a good time, but I think I'm finally on the upswing.
Good. I know you've been awfully interested in all the gymnastics and Olympic stuff going on, but are you ready for college football?
Not as ready as I am the Olympics, but yes, I'm always ready for football.
Yeah, right. It's going to be an exciting season, man. I'm so you kind of wondered how it's all going to go and everything, with all the realignment and the new 12-team playoff. What do you expect to see from everything?
I think the first year you'll probably see, as always, we'll see a couple surprises, but I think for the most part, the first year will be the usual suspects getting into the playoff and, making the semifinal and the national championship game. At least that's what I suspect. I think it might take a couple of years to really see. There'll be upsets, but I don't think you'll see the parity right away. But it will happen. I just don't see it happening this season.
Parity, huh? So you're expecting to see more teams kind of competing for the championship from year to year after the first couple of years, you think?
Yeah, I think so. Because I think one of the really good things about the expansion of the playoff, at least in my opinion, is that teams that don't see each other will now see each other. And so with that always brings the added, you're unfamiliar with your opponent. You don't play them all the time, so there's always that chance that someone's going to get upset because they didn't do the work, they didn't do the prep, or they just slept walk, whatever the reason being, into those games. So it will come. It will come. It's probably going to take a couple years for you to really see anything like that, just because we all know the dominant forces in college football are pretty much always there, right? Now, interesting though, you don't have Nick Saban at Alabama this year, so who knows? I mean,
what are your thoughts on that?
I truly like DeBoer as a coach. I really, really do. And obviously they still have talent. They didn't leave the cupboards bare. You know what I mean? He's not rebuilding a program or anything like that. Nick Saban set him up perfectly for success. So it's really just meshing, I guess, a different stylistic approach, for lack of a better term, to Alabama. Because you're not going to have Washington was not known for ground and pound, right? Like Bama, not that Bama was always ground and pound, but you always had that air of physicality with them within their running game that opened up the passing game. For Washington, it was different. Their passing attack opened up their running game. So just stylistically making a change like that within a program, it's always a transition. So it'll be a transitional year for Alabama. Not saying they won't. I think they're going to be a good football team. I just don't see them as top 2 anymore this year. Top 3, 4, yes. Not this year, maybe next year. coaching changes are always like that. They just take a year or two to really get your feet under you, regardless of what was left with you, what was left of the program. That's just my opinion. I could absolutely be wrong. And I have a lot of respect for DeBoer. I really do. I just think when
I think most of us do. Yeah, I get what you're saying, though. I think that that's the question that everybody has is, are they going to be able to be seamless with all that talent? Because I guess on the flip side of that, you look at DeBoer and what he's done, losing 12 games out of like 120 or whatever it is
exactly
in his career.
He's not a slot. Like let's be
no,
honest.
I mean, he
here.
went into a 4-8
no
Washington team and went 25-3. You know what I mean? And so I guess you definitely got a lot more talent there. You got to see how does that transfer over, though? And I guess my question would be, to me, I haven't seen them as that dominant force in the last couple of years. I think that they've, if anything, all this coaching churn that they've had, it's just been, and last year they struggled to get the offensive side of things
100%.
together for a while, right?
100%.
So if they can get in there and kind of do some things on the offensive side and get Jalen Milroe more of an offense, I think that they didn't do him any favors, pulling him out of the game or suspending him for that.
Oh no, that was stupid.
And all that. I thought it was too, but it feels like maybe they're going to put a system in place that might be helpful for them right away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that, I mean, obviously I think a lot of DeBoer as an offensive coach. So, I think I think they did Milroe a great service in bringing someone like DeBoer in, especially who, he'd worked with Penix and look, I mean, everything that he did for Michael Penix. And I'm not comparing Milroe to Penix by any means. I'm just saying that developmentally wise, we know he can develop a quarterback, and we know Milroe has the goods. Obviously, he's a good quarterback. It's just how serviceable can he be in year one under DeBoer, in my opinion. Again, I could be wrong, which I am wrong. That does happen. I know it's crazy, but it does.
I don't know. Well, you never know. Folks, we have with us Jamie Pritchard on here. You might have heard or seen her on the Air Raid podcast a couple of times, or she's been on with Coach I a few times as well. She was with us a couple of different, one other time that we had. I think it was for, what was it, our SEC coaches that we were voting on or something like that?
No, we did the schedule release. That was the one I was on.
Yes. Yep. So, we're glad you came in with us. But I mean, look, I don't know if you're wrong at all. I think that's the question that everybody has, and I don't even know that there is a right or wrong answer here because it is the unknown. And I think that their schedule, first right off the bat, I think probably one of the tougher schedules for an Alabama team, as far as they're going to continue to play all their rivals, and they added Georgia to the regular season schedule this year for them as well. So they go on the road to Oklahoma, they go on the road to LSU. They host Missouri. I guess Ole Miss got lucky and didn't have to play them this year. I don't know. What are your thoughts about where they had everybody ranked? Did you see the preseason rankings according to the SEC Media Days?
I think I saw it. I can't tell you that I remember what it looked like.
Yeah, let me pull it up. I think I've got it still right here somewhere, possibly. I should.
That tells you how much I pay attention to preseason rankings.
I don't blame you there. They are trash. I mean, I think that for the most part,
I don't put a lot of stock there. I don't put a lot of stock in those.
That is, and you shouldn't. I think that we get so enamored with our own programs that we pay attention to, and this is especially true for. I mean, Barrett Sallee was saying stupid stuff about Oklahoma, like
He
He was
always
on.
says stupid stuff.
He's such a dumbass to me.
He really is. I mean,
From
he
my
doesn't. He has one or two good things maybe in a year, but other than that, it's mostly trash.
The dude is full of crap. I mean,
Mhm.
dude, you work for Sirius Radio. You've got people working for you that can do a lot of the research for you. Before you start making dumbass comments like Oklahoma is not going to be able to recruit well enough because of geography, he says.
Well, that's just asinine.
Right? And it was
It
like,
doesn't matter what conference they're in. Like that.
no.
People are
And if
stupid.
anything, the SEC move bumped them up in recruiting
Absolutely.
because everybody wants to play in the SEC. But
Yeah.
Oklahoma's always been a national recruiting
Yeah.
program.
That's
They
just an asinine comment.
definitely own the northern part of Texas, you know. And so
Yes.
it was crazy. He said a lot of stuff, but
I sometimes question how on earth do these guys have a platform?
Yeah.
I really don't understand it. I just posted something about Feinbaum because he's the most, to me, he's the biggest idiot that I hear on a daily basis. I mean, the man is, I don't understand it. That's a whole other
I don't
tangent.
get either.
I won't get into that, but he's an idiot.
He's
He drives me
entertaining at times, but I do believe that I don't know. I like Feinbaum in some instances. I don't think that he's super knowledgeable about the game of football. I think he knows the business side and he knows a lot of these coaches. But he basically got popular because of a bunch of bumpkins calling in and acting stupid on his show.
Well, that's usually what happens.
You know, I mean, you know, I feel like I got a smarter audience than this guy, but
Well, you do, right? More than likely, because the people I hear on that show, I can't even watch it because it just infuriates me. I'm like, okay,
right?
I can't do that because y'all are stressing me out with the level of unintelligible comments you make. So I'm just
It's
gonna
wild, man. And Twitter, of course, makes it even worse because you don't have
100%.
most people don't have any kind of you don't put your name next to it. A lot of folks don't, and
Right.
you know, burner accounts, and so they just say whatever because you know it. And so much of it now, though, and I think even with you know, I have a background in being a sports reporter for the better part of 2 decades, covering the Big 12, covering the SEC a little bit as well. I covered what Pac-12, SEC a little bit, more the Big 12 than anything else, and then even some Mountain West stuff, basketball and football. And I have not come around to the understanding of how people are simply about clickbait. And that's exactly what it is. I think a lot of it is they just say whatever the hell they can. And with the Oklahoma fans, we know that they trigger easily.
Oh, 100%. Nebraska fans, LSU fans, they're the same way. I mean,
they are
100%. They're the same way. We fall for so much, and I fall for it too. And then I think back and I'm like, why did I even waste my time with that? That was just stupid.
Yeah, I have
better things to do with my time.
I get off of Twitter at least once a week for a few days because I'm like, dude, stop arguing with dumbasses.
Exactly.
You're wasting your time here. What are you doing?
I took an extended break from Twitter, mainly because I lost my dad and then dealing with all of that and then traveling, this summer and then surgery. I was like, you know what? This is a nice little opportunity. It's the off season. It's before the Olympics. I'll just stay off of Twitter. And my mind was so much better. I felt so much better about life.
Yeah. Your mental probably took a nice little upward trend there, right?
It did. But I do love it during college football season. It is a lot of fun.
It is fun.
As long as you stay within that parameter of just ignore the dumbasses, you'll be good.
Yeah, well, and that pretty much eliminates most Texas fans, so you don't pay much attention to them.
No, I don't.
Them and Oklahoma State fans. If you stay far enough away from most of them, not including you, Benji, we like you.
Or Bryce. I like Bryce. He's an Oklahoma State fan. He's a good guy.
Yeah,
he hasn't really been on a whole lot, but he's a good guy. He's very, very smart.
He goes
Like,
on the air raid show with you. Is that the one he goes
no,
on?
he's never been on. I don't think so. He used to be on Spaces, like back like when Spaces first started, and I was on there all the time. He was on there with us.
Okay.
He's super super smart. I don't remember what his. I don't. He changes his handle, so I'd have to look up and
Yeah,
see
I
what
have
his
a
handle is.
couple. I have a couple of different Oklahoma State fans that I can handle.
Yeah.
For more than like 1 minute at a time.
There's like, there's always that niche of the team you load that you're like, all right, this person's okay. I can deal with them. They're at least
Yeah,
knowledgeable.
the ones that I can't stand is like, especially like what's his name, OK State Probs or whatever. That dude's a clown.
Oh, I think I've seen him before.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, attacking. He was like one of the main ones attacking Kelly Maxwell and all that stuff after the pitching when she moved.
Oh, yes.
They were awful to her. They were awful to her.
People are retarded. I don't understand why people not only care so much about a college kid's like life decisions, but just to hate somebody to just say those kind of things because they're trying to do what they think is right for their future. It's just, I've never understood.
Well, yeah, and I think a big part of why she moved, obviously she pitched for I think 4 years at Oklahoma State and did very well, but they could never beat Oklahoma. But nobody's beating Oklahoma, by the way.
I mean, right, by the way.
It's not like
I can tell you all this, but
I just what I'm saying. But I'm convinced that when she lost those 2 games in Norman,
yeah,
to them, it was because they had her so feeling, I don't know, they were awful to her to the point that I think that she let herself off the hook of feeling bad about it by losing those 2 games. Because then after that, she was unbelievable in the tournament the whole time.
Yeah.
But college sports is definitely an emotional thing.
It is, which is why I love it. But people need to chill sometimes. And remember, these are kids. These are kids.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
They're still learning.
NIL and all that stuff. I mean, I understand that there's a different, you don't have to treat them with as much kid gloves, but I don't know. I don't think that you should treat anybody the way that people be.
I don't think so either. I think it's ridiculous.
You know what I mean? I think
it's
it was
ridiculous.
out of control. It was completely out of control. And I understand that,
it's okay to criticize people. I'm not saying you shouldn't criticize an individual's performance, but I am saying that
right.
Like take a breath. I mean,
well, it got personal.
Relax.
That's what I think.
That's the thing.
Problem with anything that happens on Twitter or YouTube or whatever is that once it stops being about an argument that you want to make about sports or criticizing a player or coaches or players or whatever, and you turn it personal, then you've gone too far.
You've gone too far. I'm with you.
But it happens. It happens an awful lot. I know. Texas Tech has stars in their eyeballs. Stink ass cat says, Kennedy getting $1 million to go to Texas Tech and pitch instead of going to Oklahoma. I was rather surprised at the move, but I was surprised they had that kind of money.
I was going to say, where did they even find out? I didn't realize there was that much money rolling around.
Somebody robbed a bank. Somebody robbed a bank over in the plains.
I mean, I know, obviously Texas is oil country, but I mean, usually those donors are locked into Texas and Texas A&M. They always have been. So
because they're a bunch of farmers. I mean, they got some money in Lubbock. It's not a poor town or anything that. But
exactly what I'm saying. I mean,
Joey McGuire's only making $5 or $6 million, I think.
I mean, I don't know about that, but I mean, good for him. I guess I can't fault it. I would probably do the same for $1 million.
Hey, listen, I mean, for her to go over there, I mean, she was definitely the best pitcher in the country last year.
Yeah.
I think that everybody were just, I think Oklahoma fans were, just marking it down that she was coming to OU. Yeah. So for Tech to get in there and get her, it's surprising because it's pretty crazy because
You just
A lot
don't.
of loot, man.
Whatever. There's less pressure. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
maybe that played in. Maybe that played into the decision. You know, sometimes I wonder if like those high profile athletes like that are just like, you know what? I'm gonna take a step back. I'm just gonna do my thing and and move forward and not have that level of pressure. You know,
Yeah,
not
I mean,
everybody
she
thrives in
carried
that.
it seems to me, though, that she carried Stanford so much because Stanford was not that good aside from her, right?
Right.
She
Very
had to
true.
carry them the last 2 years, and, I mean, I think they got to the semifinal round, but you would have thought that she might have won it. The concern that I would have had was for her to go to somewhere like Florida or something like that because they were right there too,
Oh yeah.
and they're loaded with young
And
players.
they're loaded. Yeah.
Loaded, right?
Yeah.
So, I was like, "Okay, well, I guess Tech, that works."
Whatever.
Oklahoma could probably still I mean, they can still probably beat you. Texas still beat Stanford, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know, but good for her, man. Good for her
Good
getting
for
her
her.
cash. I mean,
Exactly. That's all I'm saying. Like, you know what? Good for you.
yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. So uh, did you pay any attention to what was going on at Big Ten Media Days this week?
I did a little bit. Um, you know, I heard of course, you know, you can always count on the new coaches coming into the Big Ten. Just think they're gonna change everything and they're gonna rule us all and they're gonna make us, you know, change our style and blah 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 blah. Like
Yeah.
we've already learned how well that worked out for Scott Frost. So I might have taken a slightly different approach myself, but
Yeah.
whatever, you guys do you. I mean, they're both so full of themselves. And I actually really like Dan Lanning. I do. I mean, I think he's phenomenal
I think
as a
he's
coach and a
good.
person.
I think
I
he's
just think
good.
he's
I don't know that he's great yet, though, and
I
he
just
hasn't
think
won
he should have.
anything.
I mean, Lincoln Riley, obviously, you know how I feel about Lincoln Riley, but
Fuck Lincoln Riley.
yeah, exactly. I'm with you. I'm actually with you on that level.
Yeah.
Um, whatever. I guess they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. That you're not going to change the identity of a conference. I mean,
Yeah.
you're just not going to do that. And you're not, and if you think you are, that's fine, but you will not win games
Yeah.
like that. So good luck.
Well, and I think that Lincoln's in trouble. I've
Oh,
actually I've
100%.
got a video coming out after I get done here. I've got one more thing that I got to edit on it. I was gonna just pop it in during the show, but I didn't get finished. So, but I think that, and there's a lot of people that are predicting they actually got a pretty manageable schedule in terms of what their Big Ten schedule is because they don't play Oregon.
Yeah.
They don't have to play Ohio State the first year. Now they do go on the road to Michigan. I think that Michigan, even though they're probably down in comparison to what they were the last couple of years, I still think they're going to be really good. And I think that it's the type of team that's going to hurt USC because of their physicality and the way
Yeah,
that
there's
they
still going to be a physical. There's still going to be a physical football
run
team.
over your ass. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what they're going to
I
do.
mean, they lost a ton. I mean, I think I saw they have 4 returning starters from
Yeah.
last year. 4.
Yeah, and I think most of
That's
it's on the
tough.
defense. I still think the thing
Yeah.
is that they were pretty deep, so I think that they're going to do things the way they did. And I mean, I don't know. Harbaugh seemed to put them in a good position before he left, but it still. I think they are down, but that's a struggle game there. I don't see them really winning that. I think that you could lose the Wisconsin game, even though it's home, and I don't see how you probably beat Penn State, even though that's a home game, except for we got to wait and see if Colton Nicky really turns around that offense for Penn State, because aside from, they've always been good on defense, though.
Oh yeah, they're excellent on defense. I mean, they really are. It's that offense that just, I don't know. You just never I never know what to expect from Penn State on offense. I know they'll have a good running game for the most part, but it's always the quarterback. It's always the quarterback, and Penn State hasn't had a good quarterback in I mean, really since, not that Sean Clifford wasn't a good quarterback, but
He was all right, but I don't
he
think
was
that they don't have an identity whatsoever
no.
of what they
That's
want to
it.
do in offense.
100%. That's it right there. It's the identity of Penn State. We have literally no idea what their
What's
identity
the
is.
plan? You know, what are we
No
trying to
identity.
accomplish from series to series? You know what I mean?
No idea.
I've never understood it. And I think that obviously Colton Nicky coming out of that Lance Leipold, you know, him being his top assistant for a long time.
Yeah.
You have to expect it to, I think they'll have an idea of what they're trying to do. And I think that Drew Aller he's shown that it looks like he's got the talent. He looks the part. But
He does.
We got to see anyway. But I don't know. I still think that no matter what, they're probably, I don't know how much this really changed the Big Ten as far as this year's concerned. UCLA's a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
And Watkins probably at least a year or two away from being very good.
Yeah.
So I think they get 3 in, and I think the third one is Iowa. I think it's Iowa that gets in.
Do they play Iowa at home? Or is Iowa at home for that game, or are they at USC?
They don't play USC, so Iowa
doesn't play USC. How the hell did they always get out of playing? God, that pisses me off.
Yeah, they don't play Michigan. I don't think they play Penn State either. They
never do. Jason.
They play Ohio State in Columbus, but they don't.
They never do.
With every one of them else.
Nebraska we get sacked with everybody, which is fine. I mean, I don't really. I'm not complaining. Listen,
stretch the back end of that
it's awful.
Is freaking
God help
brutal.
our souls. I hope they put in extra conditioning, because God help us on that back stretch.
Yeah.
I mean, the front stretch it's actually, so part that I like about the schedule this year is at least we get a front stretch where it's manageable. We have not had that for the past few years, and I know that's not helped, you know, in establishing anything. So I think that helps. I think it will help the back end of the schedule, but needless to say, the back end of the schedule is brutal. It's brutal.
Brutal. Like their last 5.
It's terrible.
I mean, one after the other after the other. It's just,
I'm so used to it.
The one that they might get a break on would be, do they play USC? Let's see. I've got. Let me pull up.
Yeah, but we play them in LA.
Yeah, but I think that might be the one that you have kind of an off week. You know what I mean? Let's see. I'll find it right here. Yeah, they've got, so their last 5 after Northwestern at home, then you go Wisconsin at home, at UCLA, at Maryland, Nebraska at home. So but then really even it starts at Ohio State. They go at Ohio State, then it's Washington. This is Iowa. Iowa's got a piece of cake, right?
I know, it drives me insane. It's always like that, Jason.
I think the Wisconsin game should be pretty good, but then at UCLA and at Maryland, I don't know what Maryland is right now. It doesn't look like anything.
I don't think Maryland knows what Maryland is, to be fair.
I will get into that.
I don't think they know. So.
Nebraska, on the other hand, their last 5 is, let's see, at Ohio State, UCLA, at USC, Wisconsin, at Iowa.
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck? I'm sorry, excuse my language, but seriously.
That is brutal.
Give me a break. I hate it.
That's wild.
It's fine. It is what it is. Like, at least, I mean, here's the thing. At least when you play that caliber of team, you get a measuring stick, right? You really do truly get to see where you are as a program when you play schools like that, when you play teams like that. So it's not, I try to look at it as a blessing in disguise, because at least it really puts out there where it's a measuring stick as to where you are right now.
Well, yeah, and I think if you think about who Matt Rule is and who he's been in his career, he's loving it. He's loving it because, first off, Nebraska fans aren't as crazy with their expectation levels as they used to be. It doesn't seem like. They're
Correct.
still going to the games. They're still showing up and supporting the program, but they're not
Yes.
they're not tossing coaches in a year either. You know what I
No.
mean?
No. I'm hopeful we've learned that lesson.
I would think, but I also think that that they did really good to get Matt. I think they did really good to get Matt, and I think for him, he's probably looking at that as an opportunity to say, because look, the projections that I was just looking at, I mean, CFP Professor, it's Matrix Analytical, they're the most accurate analytics company out there at this point, and they've got them going in that last stretch. I think they end up going like 1-4 is what I think.
Yeah, I know.
Let me see. Let me make sure.
It's probably not good.
No, it's no. I mean, but
I mean,
but I also think that I also think though that you have a chance though. So Wisconsin, you look, I think they're probably a year away. And you get them at home. I think SC you could probably win. They've got them losing SC, Wisconsin, and Iowa. I could see them winning the USC game. I could see them winning against Wisconsin too.
It's funny. I feel like people are propping up Wisconsin, and I don't really understand the reasoning.
Fickle. It's got to be fickle.
Well, and I get that, but like, I don't know. Just what I saw last year, I just don't think it's going to be as any. I don't think it's going to be much better.
That kind of offense will ever work at Wisconsin, though, because that's not really who they are, right?
Exactly, and that was my point all along. Like, it's kind of the same thing with Alabama, except Alabama has the athletes to kind of do what you want when you want to do it, but true. Wisconsin does not have that luxury. So I don't know. It's always been to me, it's a weird fit. But I guess it's not my problem. I just think that Nebraska has we almost beat them last year and we were terrible. So
yeah.
You know what? I mean, we weren't terrible. I shouldn't say that, but
didn't have a very good quarterback.
But we were not good on offense. Like, offensively was a disaster.
True.
I mean, just an epic level of a disaster.
Right, and I think Chicken's got a good comment here. He says Wisconsin all depends on Tyler Van Dyke and how he develops under Longo. I think
he's terrible though. I don't think he's a good quarterback. Okay, he's not terrible.
I think he got thrown under the bus by a shitty coaching staff.
100, and he did. He did.
And
100%.
He kind of raked Cristobal and them over the coals at Big Ten Media Days, which was funny.
Well, and you should, because they did do it in a disservice. They did.
They did.
I still just don't think he's that good of a quarterback.
Well, the hope is, I guess, if you're Wisconsin, the hope would be that they didn't ruin him completely. Because sometimes guys don't bounce back from that kind of stuff. When you have that many bad games, and I don't
no support. I mean, it's not like they didn't support him at all through any of it.
They didn't. They didn't.
I mean, there's that. I mean, it's Miami, so I'm not surprised.
They quick to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Oh my gosh, it's been brutal. Like, you can't just do that anymore. You don't have those guys that were built in the streets of Miami anymore. The culture is different. That's why Miami got away with it, is because they were born and bred in the fire. Right? So now you don't have that anymore. It's just not there. So whatever. I think Nebraska will be better than Wisconsin. I truly actually feel that Nebraska will be better than Wisconsin.
We're going to find out pretty quick, right? We're going to find out pretty quick.
We're going to find out pretty quick. I think that Nebraska I think they'll come out of that stretch. I bet they win 2 of the 3.
2 of the last 3.
Yeah.
So they beat USC. You think look, they are at home against Wisconsin. I could see them winning.
Well, I think they beat Wisconsin and Iowa.
Oh, you think they lose to SC?
I don't think we match up with them very well right now. Until I see the defense, honestly, and the defense will be good. I mean, there's a ton of people returning on defense. I just don't know how we match up with their skill players right now. I'm a little concerned with the outsides.
Okay. So
Not
like you're
overtly concerned, but I'm concerned with the outsides. But again, it's hard to tell because I haven't seen them play. So I don't really know. I know their talent. I know they're talented. I
I
know we're
think they're just
talented.
really young at SC, and I don't know what I think of Miller Moss. I think he's pretty good, but
He's pretty good.
I
He's
think
pretty
that
good.
by the time that this game rolls around, which is what, week 12 or whatever, 11
Yeah.
or 12, by the time that game rolls around, that defense, and here's the thing about USC, and talking about Lincoln, I think he's signaling what's about to happen. They're going to go 8-4 again at best. I think they may end up at 7-5.
Yeah,
again,
that's probably pretty accurate. I would agree with
because
that.
I think that there are so well. Look at all the guys that they brought into the portal. They lost them.
Yeah.
And I really like the coaching staff that they hired on the defensive side, but I think that they hired those guys, Matt Ince, along with Danton Lynn, and then the Coach Henderson. All those guys, I think that two of those dudes are probably possible replacements for Lincoln, because I don't know that they're going to keep him.
I mean, the thing with SC is it's a lot like what Nebraska was, right? Like just coaching turnover. But I don't think they've learned their lesson yet.
Well, to me, he's talking about yesterday, and this is what I was saying in that other video that I've got coming out, but look, he's making excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse, and he basically threw USC under the bus in every way. The facilities, he said we're behind in facilities, we're behind in, what was it, like, definitely, well, and they are definitely behind in their facility stuff. The NIL, I don't buy that shit for a second. They are top 10 in the country.
But you have first of all, you're in LA. How do you not have just a ridiculous level of exposure, number one, market, number two, and then just the sheer number of freaking rich people lying around out there.
I'll put it
that have nothing better to do with their money.
10 recruits in the state of California, 9 of them are not going to USC. You've got
crazy
5
because that's not been. I mean,
hey, if you don't win your own state, you're screwed.
You're screwed. Absolutely, 100%. Okay.
And they owned California, and you're letting both of those kids are either going to Bama or freaking Oregon.
Yeah.
You can't be allowing that to happen if you're Lincoln Riley, and they're not getting out into the local schools. They've got amazing schools right there.
Oh my God.
Amazing programs right around there.
Modern day. I mean,
yeah, and I mean, not even talking about just Modern Day or St. John Bosco. There's schools like down in that Crenshaw area, Crenshaw High School, and some of those other ones that they put out stud players left and right.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think Nebraska. I think I saw something on this over the spring, I believe. I think Nebraska has been out to those schools more than USC has ever been in them in the past, like, handful of years. In the past year.
Yep.
I mean, our guys are always out in California, it seems like.
Oklahoma just recruited. He's probably going to turn out to be a 5-star for 26. That kid out of which school does he go to? But anyway, he's one of the top quarterbacks in the country, and he's in Lincoln's backyard.
I know.
And Riley's and they're saying, well, he didn't recruit him. And I'm thinking, you're so sure that Julian Lewis is coming, huh? Because I'm not. He's a Georgia kid. Why the hell would he go there? I think he ends up at somewhere like Auburn or something like that.
He could. He could, which is weird, but he could.
I think he's hurting. I think he's hurt. I think he's definitely in trouble. And you could tell by the way he was definitely standoffish, but it was just more and more excuses. And he's talking about, well, we know he's running from the SEC. He's been running from the SEC. That's why
that was the whole thing that pushed him to SC in the first place.
Oh yeah, he had no he had no inkling to go play in the SEC, and which Castiglione said that on that July 1st show with Feinbaum, and then when he was like, where every coach at Oklahoma was excited, and the one that wasn't isn't here anymore. And so they asked him about that at Big Ten Media Days, and he got pissed, and he was like, "I'm not going to answer that. Just next question or whatever." He got all butthurt about it. But he's talking about he tried for the Saturday Down South said that for 2 years he was trying to get out of the LSU game to open the season with.
That's true. Yes.
And then they definitely canceled the Ole Miss series that was going to start next year. And that Lane didn't. They're saying, well, that was a mutual. The hell
no,
it was.
It wasn't.
There ain't no way that Lane
never do that.
No, Lane would love to go out there and drag their ass around the Coliseum.
1,000%. Lane doesn't back away from shit. Like, are you kidding me?
Right. I think we're losing you.
Oh, hold on.
Oh no, I got you back.
No, you got me back? Okay.
Yeah, I got you back. No, but there's no way. But and then on top of that, now we're finding out, and I knew this was coming because when you heard Colin Cowherd on his show with Feldman about a month and a half ago, and he was like, I think they ought to get rid of the Notre Dame. They don't need to play that Notre Dame game anymore. That's 100-year-old blood rivalry. And you're seriously talking about getting rid of that one. And sure enough, this was the funny one. He started talking about that this was what Saban in Alabama did, was scheduling not to make your fans happy, but to win championships, as if it was only cream puffs that Alabama or anybody in the SEC schedules. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, every year they play a pretty good out-of-conference team in the early part of the year. Every year.
Yeah,
now they do it a lot of them every year.
I mean, it's like Texas, for Christ's sake, for last year.
He's 15-2 in those games, too. Yeah. He's 15-2 in those games. Well, Lincoln didn't talk about that shit, but he was basically throwing the goat under the bus, saying that, basically, to me, it felt like he was minimizing everything else that Nick Saban did as a coach just to that scheduling. That's why they won 6 national championships in Tuscaloosa.
Well, that's a bunch of horseshit. That's so stupid.
This is who he is now. This is who he is now.
It's, to be fair, is who he's always been. He for some reason he hit it better at OU. But he's always been like this.
Yeah.
So
I'm
glad you guys are rid of him, and you have especially going into the SEC, because you needed a defensive guy going into the SEC, in my opinion, because of how the league runs, you need a defensive-minded coach. So you guys are in a much better position.
There's no doubt about it. I think
it was a blessing in disguise. Like, it sucked. I realized that, and I went through it with y'all, but it was a blessing.
No, it was a blessing, and I think that what bothered people, and is what you found out later, and the things that he said since, and on the way out saying stupid shit like, that you can't recruit elite players to Norman anymore. It's particularly on the defensive side of the ball. No, Lincoln, you can't. But you can, and you can't do it at SC either. But it was funny that he was talking about how they were behind in NIL and all this other stuff. And that was the reasons that he was saying that he left, was because at the mecca of college football, as he said, we're going to be able to recruit the best guys and have the best chance to win national championships here and, go back. And it's like, bro, come on.
USC is not the mecca of college football.
It is not. No.
It is never.
They've won a lot of natties.
Maybe there was like that early 2000s era where they probably were, but for the most part, I would never consider them to be the mecca of college football. I just wouldn't.
No. Well, it hasn't been in a long time. They haven't done anything since Pete Carroll left.
True.
You know, so I think that Lane, he kind of fumbled their opportunity there. They were number one that year before that he got fired.
He wasn't
Because he
ready.
was so bad. He was not.
He was not ready. It was just like Scott Frost. He was not ready. I think Scott is a good coach, actually. He just needed to grow up, and he did it. And unfortunately he did it, and what happened. And I hope he gets another opportunity, because he is a good coach. He just was not ready for Nebraska.
Sometimes going home to a job like that is too much. And there was a lot of,
and too early in his career. He wasn't ready.
He was great at UCF. I mean, take nothing away from what he did at UCF. He was fantastic, right?
Absolutely. He either should have stayed at UCF for a little bit longer, or he should have taken a small, like a group, not a group of 5, because that's what UCF was, but like a smaller Power 5 school. Like I don't know, like a Baylor. I'll put out, or not even a Baylor, because I don't know if the Big 12 would have been a good fit conference wise. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, there just needed to be another step.
Well, yeah, I think a Big 12 school would have been perfect, because I just think it was too much. I think that really, for the fact that Nebraska's been bad as it's been since it basically got in the Big 10.
Well,
that's a lot to put on his shoulders, man. That's a lot to put on his shoulders, to come back and be the savior. Like, you know what I mean? And I just think he was I think you're right. I think it was way early for that. Jay Chapman, I know what you're talking about with Monty. That dude's a clown too. Monty show. Jay says, I posted on Monty that Riley going to USA was a blessing in disguise for OU. They laughed at me. The level of disrespect and doubt for the Sooners football program is staggering. And you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Bevo, I'm telling you, what did you say up here? You said Riley got out right before Sark got things rolling. Buddy, Riley leaving Oklahoma is the worst thing that could have happened to Texas.
Stupid Texas fans.
This one is a clown.
Well, his name is Bevo, so I mean,
Bevo's bodyguard is his name. He's
I was pretty prepared for what Bevo was going to say, and I knew it was going to be.
Come on, bro. Yeah, I mean,
that's what he said. So thank you, Bevo.
You know, they hate on Venables like crazy whenever they extended it, and they didn't really extend much. They just extended the years. He got like inflation taxes or whatever on extra money, a total of $400,000 for, you know, basically adding 2 more years. Anyway,
but they extended. Didn't Texas extend Sark
freaking the hell out about that? They freaked out. They were like, "Why would you? He didn't deserve that. What are you talking about? You guys are just worried because in year 2 he got you."
Yeah, they just Texas needs to just calm themselves down. Tell you that much. Gosh, they drive me insane. I mean, I don't know. Colorado is worse now that they have Dion as a coach, 100%. But before that, Texas was just. I just can't deal with them on a daily basis.
Tell me about this Colorado thing. I never remembered that was such a huge rivalry for Colorado and Nebraska. I forgot about that. It was,
and I remember it from the 90s. Like it was bad. It was bad. Like there were a lot of people that would not go to Boulder because of the horrible things that had happened to them out there. And I'm not talking like just basic vandalism. I'm talking like actual horrible assault and just terrible things. And I mean, I'm not surprised that their fan base is the way they are, because that's who they are. That's who they've always been. And now all of a sudden they think their 4-8 football team is like God's gift to the Big 12. And I'm like, y'all, please take it down a notch. Like,
I like Shedeur a lot. I think that Shedeur is very good. I think that Travis Hunter is very good. I don't think they have a whole lot more. They've got skill guys, but I don't know.
They have no depth. They have no depth, and they have no trenches. They don't have either of those things, and you're not going to win football games without those 2 things. That's football 101. And
True.
Dion should know that. Like, you don't, sure, great, you have star skill players. Fantastic, great for you. Perfect.
Brian's kind of trying
Who's
to
going to
reinvent
protect
the
them?
wheel, though.
Who's
He's
going
trying
to
to
protect those
reinvent the
guys?
wheel, right? I don't understand why he's doing the way he is, because he's trying to reinvent the wheel with recruiting and everything else. It's just, yeah. And I guess I could kind of understand where he was headed with it. You know, having your kids for a couple of years, he's hoping to win with them. But I think that he would have done better to, hey, just get incrementally better. What's
Yeah,
going on
I
over
think
there,
so
Jamie?
too.
It's loud.
Sorry.
Are you
Sorry.
in the airport?
No, that section of road is terrible. Like, I don't know what they did, but it makes you sound like you have a flat tire. And it's ridiculous because you don't have a flat tire. And it doesn't matter
Okay.
what vehicle I drive over in it. It's
I
like,
thought you were in a wind tunnel or something. I was like, what the
I
hell is
know,
that?
it's terrible. I don't know what they did. There's like some voodoo. Like, there's like I don't know, maybe a quarter of a mile stretch where it's just, I don't know. I don't know what they did.
Well,
Sorry. I apologize. I'm good.
no
The
worries.
car's
I was just
fine.
like, man, are you okay over there?
We're okay. We're good. We made it.
All right, good deal. Well, I know you have an appointment you have to get to, but
I
I
do.
appreciate you calling in, and it was
I
good
appreciate you
talking with you.
having me.
Good
Great
stuff. Good
talking
stuff.
with you.
Hey,
I
listen,
will come back
you got to
on
jump
soon.
on more. Yeah, you got to
I
jump
will.
on more. Good talk.
I will. All right. Bye, you guys. Have a good
Thank,
day.
thank you, Jamie. Talk to you soon.
Yep.
Jamie Pritchard, she kind of jumps around and does a lot of different stuff. Yeah, is she calling from Louisiana? No. Man. No, she actually, so she lives in Nebraska, I believe. Yes, she does. And so she's not exactly sure how she became an LSU fan, but she's a good college football person. She gets her stuff, so she's done pretty good. We've been on. I was on with her on Coach I's show, and then we did that other show here on our show when we were doing the schedule release stuff, when the SEC did its release of the schedule. So, but she's great on Twitter. She's entertaining on Twitter. She gets pretty wound up about the sports that she's watching and stuff. So, and it's constantly Nebraska and LSU fan. Correct. Yeah. Yeah. There's Coach I right there. But yeah, she's entertaining, man. Lots of fun. And I think she knows her stuff. I wanted to ask her more about that Nebraska Colorado game, because I've been watching them go back and forth, man. I didn't realize how, I guess I just didn't remember it, but how like crazy that freaking that rivalry is, because they hate each other. You know, when we get Dave from Dave's Talks Buffs on here, he talks. I was just in the comments of one of his live streams about a week or two ago, and there's Nebraska fans that come in there just start trolling him, and he talks mad shit back and forth with them the whole time. It's hilarious. It's kind of how I am with you knucklehead Texas guys saying all that BS. You're laughing at them. Yeah, you aren't laughing about it, because you know what it's going to look like in 2 years, when 2 years after he got there, they already got you after one. You're screwed. You're screwed. Texas is screwed. Your 15 minutes are almost up, Benji. Sorry to tell you, but that's just a fact. Bishop Frank, what's up, man? Thanks for coming in. Chicken, Coach I, Stink Ass Cat. Let's see who else we got. Purple Orca in the house. Jay Chapman. Who else? Bevo's bodyguard. Clowning as usual. Fisherman. What's up, guys? Good to see everybody in here. Chrissy, good. Hey, man, you've had a couple of pretty good ones as well. Having some pretty good comments lately. Coach Ricks, man, good to see you back in here, my man. I think that I think you're right here. I think that Matt Rule, yeah, I don't see them losing that game at the end of the year. I think Nebraska, if they've figured, I mean, if Dylan Raiola is first stays healthy, obviously you got to stay healthy, but I think that by that time of the year, he's probably got his feet underneath him. You know, and their early part of their schedule looks doable. You know, Start off with UTEP, then they got Colorado. It's a home game this time around. I feel like they should win that one. Then it's Northern Iowa, Illinois, at Purdue, Rutgers, and then at Indiana. I mean, they start off, they shouldn't lose any of those games. So they should have what, 3, 6, 7. They should be 8-0 when they go to Ohio State. You know, they're going to lose that one, I'm sure, more than likely anyway. But then UCLA, they're going to win that one. They should beat SC. I think those last 2 games, I mean, I don't think they make the playoff, but I'll tell you what, if they can pull a win, if they can win 2 out of their last 3, they could. The professor has them projected at 8-4, ceiling of 9-3. I mean, but he has them losing all 3 of their last 3 games. And then, of course, the Ohio State game. So I don't know if they could win 2 out of those last 3. I don't know that I'm super buying them. I buy Matt Rule. Matt Rule's a little better than the guy you got there at Texas, bruh. I think that may be the issue is Raiola. But if you look at their schedule, brother, it sets up pretty well. If he doesn't get hurt, he's a good player. He's got a hell of an arm. You keep him out of harm's way. I mean, I guess the Colorado game could be a tough game. I mean, it's only a 10-point spread. But aside from that, who the hell is who's going to really test them? You're out of your mind, Benji. Sark is not better. Okay, I'll shoot you that link. Cool. Coming to your Twitter. It's in there. Bro. You're out of your mind, dude. You know what? Matt Rule has a much better winning percentage, and he didn't get to coach at USC, Washington, and Texas. Knuckleheads. Matt Rule took over at Baylor after Bryles and that whole scandal tanked the entire program, and he had it turned around in 2 years. He's one of the best coaches in the country. You guys are out of your mind. What are you talking about? Because he isn't that good for those gigs. What's up, Coach I? Welcome into the show.
What's going on, my man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Yeah, man. I'm driving. So
driving?
Yeah.
Headed to an appointment too?
Yeah, I'm finished with
everybody
the
on their appointment days.
Yeah, man. Coming back from appointment. Headed back to the house. Got to make a couple stops, but I was like, I got a couple minutes, man. So you say is Raiola starting for them for real?
Looks like it. Looks like they don't really have much as far as quarterbacks are concerned.
What's the schedule like? You say 8-0. I don't even know what's the schedule like.
They open with UTEP at home, then they got Colorado. The Colorado game, it's a rivalry game, so I mean, you don't know really what could happen. And Colorado did get them last year.
Is that in Boulder or Lincoln?
It's in Lincoln this time, so they should. I mean, I think that. I mean, provided they win that one, the next game they have is Northern Iowa, then Illinois, at Purdue, Rutgers at home, at Indiana. I mean, they should be 7. They should be 8-0 when they get to the Ohio State game.
At worst, 6-2.
Not 1, 2, 3.
I think Colorado.
7-0. They should be 7-0 when they get to the Ohio State game. So,
I think there's a chance Colorado could get them, but I'm like you. I got Nebraska winning just because Raiola young in his career. I don't know. We'll see what he got. And then Illinois has a good defense. I don't know if they can they still run the ball, because they was really good at running the ball last year. So, but I guess Matt Rule will be ready for that, though.
Listen, I mean, Yeah, well, there's no love lost between those two programs, first off. But I hadn't realized that it was that crazy between them.
Yeah.
But or I guess I hadn't remembered, but I think that that's a possible that they could lose that one. I don't really see them losing to anybody else. Maybe Rutgers, but I don't think so.
Well, I was about to say
Rutgers
last year Rutgers could score, but they couldn't stop nobody. So I mean, I would assume that their defense didn't get that much better over the course of a year. So I mean, 7-0 sounds like a realistic possibility going into that. That's the and then the 8th game is Ohio State.
Yes. Game 8 is Ohio State. So I mean, at worst, yeah, man, I don't know that I see them losing any of those games. Shelby says, I want Nebraska to go 0 and whatever. You're hating Nebraska, huh? Had no idea.
I know, right? What's the hate for Nebraska? I'll be honest with you.
What's that?
I guess they got Raiola, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I wanted Raiola. But I was just as pleased with Ryan Puglisi as I was with Raiola when you watched the film. So
yeah, I like Puglisi too. I think he's good.
Yeah, right. Me too. I actually think, long term he may be better than Raiola, to be honest with you. But I wanted Raiola, but hey man.
Neilio says he seconds Shelby, but he's a K-State guy, so I get that.
Right. There's some history there. Like, we played Nebraska like once in a bowl game or something. I don't know. Shay, listen.
Listen, I mean, most of us Oklahoma fans, there was a time that we hated them the same way, but I think that it's more. There's a lot of respect between Oklahoma and Nebraska fans. It's because of Coach Osborne was that dude, man. And I know myself as a reporter, I got to meet Coach Osborne. It was after he had already retired, but I met him the first time I met him. I got a couple of minutes to talk to him or whatever. And I was going to cover, I think it was OU at Nebraska. Yeah. But it was after he had retired, but I got to talk to him whenever I got up there, and he was cool. Then I saw him a few years later, and he remembered who I was. And Coach Roybal talks about that of course, Coach coached that guy. Oh man, what was that kid's name that won the freaking Outland Trophy at Nebraska that Coach had him at Wichita Falls Rider? Damn, I'm trying to remember his name.
Outland Trophy, ain't that the defensive? That's the
offensive lineman.
Offensive lineman. Oh, okay. God, pull up.
He was a freaking bad dude. And nobody in like the Big 12, or I guess it was still the Southwest Conference at that time, but they didn't want. I mean, Tech didn't want him. TCU, none of them. So yeah, it was wild. It was wild, man.
Hey, shit, first lady don't like nobody that ain't the dogs, to be honest.
That's true. I get it. I can understand.
Yeah.
Nebraska's is cooked. Can't recruit Texas no more. I mean, he just got the #1 quarterback. They've got a good defense, good defensive coaches. Matt Rule knows what he's doing. I don't know that it works out long term, really, and I don't see them ever really like winning that conference. Although, I mean, if you're not going to beat Ohio State, but I don't know. There's no way they lose to UCLA. At USC, I think they probably win that game. I'm telling you, by that time of the year, whatever defense they were playing, they've got to have injuries at that point. And they're just not very deep. I think they're in trouble, man. That's what I think SC's in trouble.
I think teams like Nebraska are going to be competitive with the starters per se. But I just don't know how much depth he has been able to build. I mean, I know he's hitting the transfer portal, but we're talking about Nebraska here. They hadn't really been good since
a long time
in college.
Yeah. No, I remember. I mean, the last time they won the Natty was when they were good last, really.
Right. So that's what
when Scott Frost was the quarterback. You know what I mean?
Right. That's what I worry about as the season goes. Like with a lot of these mid-tier teams but I guess if you're playing other mid-tier teams, then it might be the same problem for both teams.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it, Bevo's bodyguard talking all this stuff that they can't recruit Texas anymore. Look, Matt Rule has his tentacles into Texas. Believe that. I don't know that they'll ever recruit well enough to be national title contenders again necessarily, but then again, he's finding ways that, and they were a lot better towards the end of last year. They looked a lot better than they had been looking in. I mean, I never really saw them kind of getting it flipped around. But when you can go out there and and I get it that his dad played at Nebraska and everything, and that's kind of why they got Raiola. But when it only takes getting a couple of those guys and kind of turning it around a little bit to sell it to other players, to other recruits. And I mean, he's got the track record, coach. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a good coach. Like I say, we always talk about to compete though for the conference against Michigans and the Ohio States, and
it's
to be
tough,
honest, even Penn State, because of the recruiting, I don't know. Like you say, he's gonna have to do some really good recruiting, put together back-to-back years, back-to-back classes to be able to, surprise one of those guys.
True. Well, and like
if it was still East and West, then he'd have a better shot.
Yeah, well, and this Neilio's got it right here. He says Rule's number one priority in recruiting is taking back those Nebraska type kids who Ferentz has been feasting on for over a decade, the ones that bitch slap their opponents defensively. And that's what it kind of takes, right? Those Indomitian Stew guys or the old black shirt defenses, man. That's what they were. They were, man. I still remember those games against Nebraska used to be brutal.
Listen, man, Nebraska at one point, I was like, man, when they had Tommy Frazier and
Dude,
Scott
Tommy
Frost,
Frazier's
like,
the best, one of the best college football players of all time.
Bro, what's crazy is when they talk about best quarterbacks, they never talk about Tommy Frazier.
How do you not bring up Tommy Frazier when you're talking about that? It's unbelievable to me. Not even quarterbacks, players.
Right, players, yeah. Like I'm behind, like they'll shoot out a list and have Tebow, rightfully so, and then they'll have Vince Young, rightfully so. But like Frazier was the dude.
Yep. So, no, and Benji said he usually recruits, not scoring stars. He doesn't care about stars. He looks for speed and measurables and stuff. Yeah, look, he's a developer. That's what he is. He's a builder. So, and man, the guy, look, man, when you got to think about what Baylor was when he got there. They were so bad after what happened with the whole Bryles deal. He flipped it around immediately. Yep. Same thing. Who the hell wins at Temple? Just Matt Rule.
Right. Chicken says they do. Illinois does still have a run game. Where is that Illinois game at versus Nebraska?
It's in Lincoln. Yep.
Oh, okay.
But I think that's another one. Look,
that's one that could come out of left field.
That's another one that you could possibly lose, I think, because Brett Bielema, he's going to do what he does. They're going to play good defense. Right. They're going to run the shit out of the ball, try to take time off the clock. And
that's it. They're going to run the hell out of the ball, and
they're going to run the hell out of the ball. Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, I mean, he does things like they did it at Wisconsin. I mean, it's wild to me that Wisconsin's going to such a spread offense. I don't know that ends up working out there. I think that coach, I think they got a hell of a coach, but I just don't know that that's the right offense there. Do you?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard because you ain't got the personnel to do. I mean, what can you do there with the personnel that's there?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, Shelby says if Kirby can recruit California, Rule can recruit Texas. It only takes one. I agree. I think he just got one out of California, and we know that Lincoln can't recruit California apparently. So it probably helps that USC's not getting those kids. I don't know what's going on there, but
I don't either, dog. I know they better start winning soon, or they're gonna be looking to replace him. I don't care how much money they're paying him. So,
I don't think he stays around. I don't think he stays around at all. I think they end up. I don't think he quits because I don't think that there's not another head coaching job for him right now. Or at least nothing like what he's gonna have, what he has there.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, maybe some lower.
He could get
level
another head
D5.
coaching job, but it won't be the job that he wants for damn sure.
No,
But so he's not trying to leave, I don't think, but they're gonna fire his ass. They get this idea that the NIL isn't available there is bullshit. It's bullshit. They've got more billionaire alumni than 99 out of 100 schools in this country. You know what I mean?
So,
it's not close.
the
The schools in front of them with that stuff, the schools in front of them with that stuff are like Harvard and shit.
Oh my goodness. Shelby says he wants to be fired so he can get the buyout.
Yeah. Yeah, he's trying to pull a Jimbo. Trying to pull a Jimbo. Everyone has numbers.
Hey,
yes,
business wise, hey, financially, I ain't even that.
Look,
Jimbo's getting paid more not to coach than he did to coach.
Unbelievable, right? Yeah.
That's crazy, dog. It was a
Jimbo can go kick back and fish and never be seen again or heard from again. And he's living the life, man.
Speaking of, he hasn't been. I haven't seen him. They haven't interviewed the dude or nothing. Since he got fired, he ain't even been on TV or nothing.
I hadn't seen him at all.
I guess he said and then no need to look for no job or nothing. Like, normally somebody get fired like that. I don't know, maybe it's something in his clause. They at least go like a G5 or something, pop up at a G5 if they really love football. I think.
Well, they were talking about him as a possibility at West Virginia before.
I don't think they're gonna get rid of that guy. I think they like that guy.
No, I think I don't know that the fans love him, but he definitely did himself a favor by winning the amount of games he did last year. He's not on the hot seat anymore. I don't know how long it would take to get back on it if you're Neil Brown, but
well, if he doesn't go at least 7-5 this year, I think.
Yeah,
that might have something to do with
though. That's tough.
Yeah,
not go 7-5 this year in the Big 12 because it's
pull up their schedule. Pull up their schedule right.
Yeah, let me pull it up. It's West Virginia. Yeah, man. I mean, they've got them going 4-8, or the professor does. The CFB professors got them going 4-8. They open with Penn State, then they're Albany, then at Pitt, Kansas at home, at Oklahoma State, Iowa State, Kansas State, at Arizona. Yeah, that's a tough ass schedule, bro.
He might be.
Damn.
Yeah, he gonna be on the hot seat by the end of the year.
Damn. Yeah, they did him wrong, man.
Like literally, they could. I'm talking about realistically, they could be 1 in whatever those first 6 or 7. They could be 1-6. I mean, they could technically beat Pitt, but that's a rivalry. So I call that that's like a toss up. I think they're losing to Penn State.
He's got them as a toss up. The spread he's got is 2.5.
Penn State, I got that as a loss. Kansas, if Daniels is healthy, that's a loss. Kansas State, that's a loss. Arizona, that's a loss.
Iowa State, Kansas State,
that's a loss. Jesus.
Even their home games. I mean, Iowa State and now it's a tough place to go play in Morgantown. Don't get me wrong.
That's true.
Kuz was in here a little earlier. I don't know if he's still here or not, but brutal, man. This is a brutal schedule.
What are their last 5 games?
So their last 5, it lightens up a little bit. Kind of, though. I mean, they've got UCF, at Tech, at Cincinnati, at Arizona. No, so not really. After Kansas State, they go to Arizona, to Cincy, Baylor. That should be their win. And then UCF, Baylor, and then at Tech.
Cincy, Baylor, and Tech have to be wins. If they don't,
if they're going to have a winning record,
right? They have to be wins. Pitt has to be a win.
Yep.
Cincy, Baylor, Tech, and he's probably got to beat UCF too, to be honest. Is UCF at home or at UCF?
It's at home. It's at home.
Ooh, okay. I was to say, man, that's a little rough out there, dog.
It's still rough. Yeah, well, and then they go to Tech. They beat Tech last year. That's a toss-up game. All their last, what is it? 1, 2, 3. Their last 7 of their last 8 are toss-ups. So it's weird because they've got a record ceiling of 10-2 according to the analytics guy.
Yeah, I don't know about
The
that.
record floor is 2-10 though. 2-10 gets his ass kicked immediately. Get the fuck out. They're gonna fire him.
Chicken said he's going to buy out Allen.
Yeah. I don't know if they re-upped him, did they?
Oh,
please have Lincoln on the hot seat after 4 games. What, are you trying to get a new OC there, Shelby?
No, hell no. We good. I don't want nothing. I don't want him nowhere near Georgia program. We good. He ain't got enough fight in him, man.
I'll tell you one thing. I think that's what it's going to take for him, though. I think it's what it's going to take for him is to be under a powerful coach that can keep him reined in.
Right there, you might be right. Just not in Athens.
So do I, Shelby. So do I.
Hey. All right, man. I can get out of here and go into these stores, man.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate you coming in. Good talk.
All right.
Talk to you later.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right, bro. Coach I from Fanatic Sports Network. We don't have the Saturday night snap count this week, but next weekend we'll be on with him again on Saturday. We're going to be talking SEC ball then. Yeah, not a fan of Lincoln Riley. Look, yeah, he was fine under Bob because Bob made him run the football and do some things. I mean, the reason that, he put him in a position to be good. He just never stuck with it. And listen, I've said this a lot, and I was telling this to our USC friend that we got, but I believe that the problem with Lincoln is first off, he doesn't really have any mentors left around, and the ones that he would have had, he burned those bridges. He doesn't get it. Hey, Bishop Frank, you want to call in? Anybody, if you would like to call in and talk a little ball, feel free. I'm going to drop it in there right now. It's in the chat. Let's see how many, let's check and see how many we got as far as 29 likes. There are, right now, there's what? Looks like we have 60 people in here, only 29 likes. We've had 300 people in here so far. Come on now. Come on now. Welcome to the show, Bishop Frank.
What's good?
How you doing?
Big salute. Man. I've been liking the show, man.
Thank you, man.
New fire.
Hey, man. Guys, I had a couple of good callers, man. Jamie, she knows her stuff, and she's not short of opinions, just like everybody else. Shelby, you are calling too. I know you got something to say. You're in here talking about Lincoln. Loving it. Coach Ricks, welcome into the show. Anybody who wants to jump in, man, just let me know. Y'all can pop in here. Jimmy Lee, we'd love to hear from you guys. Yeah, listen, I think that, and Sooner in Texas just said, please stop naming he who shall not be named. It's Tebow, period. Yeah.
It just means more.
It just means more. Yeah, man, listen, this guy is he's a piece of work, though, isn't he? I surprised me. I guess it shouldn't have surprised me at all, but what an awful performance at Big Ten Media Days. This is how and who said this? I was just looking. Jimmy Lee said at least Lincoln had a better opening statement for Big Ten Media Day than the UCLA guy. Yeah, but it went downhill after that. You know, he didn't have the right. He was definitely not saying the right things, man. He's definitely not saying the right things.
But yeah, it's just ridiculous. Then he was doing the moonwalk on his conversation when people were asking him the tough questions.
Just it's excuse after excuse, and it's the thing is he's contradicting himself on the crap excuses he was given on his way out of Norman. You know, talking all that stupid stuff about how the resources and their, you know, everything that they do at USC and what it is, it's that beacon, that mecca of freaking college football out there in Southern California, was going to allow them to recruit the kind of players that you have to win national championships. it's all crap. Because now he's saying they're way behind on all that shit, throwing USC under the bus. I don't think that they're going to put up with that crap much out there after this.
But just think about it. All he was doing is trying to save his fan base and get them back on his side. His whole thing was he was trying to spin the whole narrative on the NIL.
Right.
And if you look at it, he did. It wasn't the right thing to do. You own up to it if you miss it, and you keep building.
Right. No, I agree. I think that's yeah, it's wild. Man, I forgot to ask Coach I about what's up with this Georgia player in Shawty. I see you in there. What happened with this kid? The latest guy to get arrested. What's up with that? These kids are just getting in all kinds of crap out there. And this one sounds like it was worse than just like racing your car. Oh, hey, we got Coach Ricks in here too. What's up, Coach Ricks? Welcome into the show. Coach Ricks, you hear me? You got to unmute it. Okay, well, he'll pop in a second.
Yeah.
Let's see. They have no other option but to take it. Season's almost here. Yeah, I don't see them firing. I mean, they just hired the guy, and they didn't. It's not like that job was. They were trying to get PJ Fleck, I think, and he didn't even want it. And if that dude didn't want it, I don't know. It's pretty wild. Pretty wild. Yeah, he had the worst media day of all time. Yeah, that was a pretty bad opening statement by Deshaun Foster, I got to say. I mean, little weird. We lost.
Jacob, yeah, I'm really surprised that their media team didn't actually
prepare him a little bit.
Yeah, prepare him. It's almost like he went in cold.
You know what it kind of felt like to me was like he figured out, I'll just wing it, I'm no big deal. And maybe when it just didn't come together right away, I mean, because you have those moments when you kind of stumble over words, but I think he froze. What's up, Coach Ricks?
What's going on, fellas? How you doing?
Good, man. Welcome into the show, man. Sorry to hear about your pops.
Oh, man. Thank you, man.
What do you think about all this stuff we're talking about in here today?
Man, I think we need to get off Lincoln. I mean, I think he's old news, but I love seeing him fail. I just think the way he left, man, just was a coward way of leaving. If you want to leave, just leave.
Mm-hmm.
Just be a man about it.
Being a coward. I mean, now he's still blaming everything on everybody but himself, which is why I feel like he never will be the coach that he's never going to be the coach that everybody thinks he is or thought he was when he left Oklahoma.
Man, everybody thought he was the next big thing. I mean, Bob and everybody had that faith in him. But now, man, it just seems like that kettle, man, it was steaming hot. Now it's simmering. And I don't think he can get a coaching job nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's that. Yeah, I mean, it's like Coach I was saying. I mean, there's got to be some jobs that would maybe take him because of that. He's always going to have a quarterback. But you're saying he left the same way anyone leaves. He left it. No, he didn't leave the same way anyone leaves. Look, there were guys recruiting for USC during the season. They had made up their mind by the Iowa State game. This is recruits' parents were talking about this. Recruits were talking about this. This happened. Roy Manning. And then they fired him, but they made him fire him last year, which was kind of surprising. Yeah, it was. We've got Coach Ricks in here right now, along with Bishop Frank. So, yeah, let's see. We are University in California, City of Los Angeles. Yeah, that was so bad. It was really so bad. Don't add in the political.
I don't think that he has a mentor or someone from the PC that can help him talk because, man, he got up there on that stage, man, he was lost.
I think he froze, man. I think he froze up.
I felt bad for him, man, because, I'm all about giving coaches opportunity, man, but you have to know how to be political when you get into some of these big positions.
Yeah. Well, and I think, man, it feels like UCLA's kind of just giving in on the whole. Well, and they're in that whole argument that they're going to have to give up a bunch of their money to Cal unless this lawsuit goes in their favor. It's not good times at UCLA right now. Obviously, that's why Chip left, because they weren't going to support him. And I think that if you get to where you don't have to pay half of your cash or whatever it is that they're trying to make them pay, like I think it's like $40 million a year of what they're getting is supposed to be going to Cal. If that goes through and works out for them, what an awful deal for UCLA, man.
Man, that's gonna hurt.
But they'll pull the plug on it. They'll pull the plug on it. They won't care. They'll do just like Cal's doing and not care about it. It's wild, man. They play in the freaking Rose Bowl. How are you that bad right now? I don't know. It just doesn't make sense.
I never knew there was a problem between UCLA and Chip Kelly.
Yeah, towards the end of last year, there was a lot of rumors swirling around. I mean, they were doing well. They didn't have a terrible season. I think they won 8 or 9 games anyway. But they were saying that they were going to fire him. And that was going into the USC game, and everybody knew that USC was going to get beat in that game. And they were saying they were going to fire him, and then all of a sudden they decided not to. By then, I think the whole team was in turmoil. That's why they ended up losing Danton Lynn to USC, which, that pissed a lot of people off. But I got to say, I mean, it was handled poorly. They've been handling football poorly at UCLA for a long time, though. Doesn't surprise me. At USC, said they'd been searching for a coach for 2 months, but Riley was their guy the whole time. Yeah, he was. You can't even lie about it at this point if you're USC, because bottom line is we heard from recruits what was going on with Roy Manning. He was recruiting for USC long before they left. Again, I would tell you that it's a blessing that he's gone, but the shine is wearing off of Lincoln Riley. There's no two ways around it. The shine is wearing off the guy.
Oh yeah, he's not the same old Lincoln Riley that he was when he was at Oklahoma.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he definitely what Lincoln was doing, you could tell he was off. They were, I mean, even with Caleb Williams and the team that they had there, because they had talent. I mean, they came in even with Spencer coming in that season, you expected them to go and make another run at the playoffs and maybe have a shot. And then once Spencer played bad and then Caleb got in, then it was like, whoa. When they lost the Baylor game, that was the first, but they never looked like they were they never looked like they were comfortable ever. They never kind of got it rolling. They were good, but they weren't near what they should have been. When they lost to Baylor, I mean, Dave Aranda exposed him that day. Exposed that dude. Straight up.
Hey, Jason.
Yeah.
Hey, Bishop. I got a question for you guys. Do you think Lincoln dreaded putting Caleb in that game? Do you think he didn't want to put Caleb in? He wanted to leave Spencer in there?
He wanted to lose. Think about it. The year before,
I thought the same thing. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I thought the same. It will give him an easy excuse and an easy way out.
Yep.
Facts.
Yeah. They threw the Bedlam game for damn sure. They ran the same play about 2 times in a row.
I'm yelling at the TV of that game, like, why are you running this BS stuff? You didn't run. You probably ran 30% of your playbook in that game.
Hey, He ran the same play
3 times in a row.
No, 10 times in a row. And all 10 times, Caleb was running for his damn life in Bedlam. And think about it. Spencer, he jerked his ass out immediately the year before in the Red River. Remember? Because he got in there and I forget, he had a turnover for sure, but you could tell he was freaking out. And so they pulled him out of there and put Chandler in. And he settled down and came back in, and then he was fine. But he waited till it was freaking 28-7 before he put Caleb in. Yeah, he was trying to lose.
An average coach, if you're down 10 and you know you have another experienced quarterback behind your starter, you give him a shot. You give him a shot.
Hell yes.
Because you never know. You never know.
Hey, again, just look at the difference in the 2 years. You know what I mean? Why would you wait so long against your biggest rival? Why would you wait? When Spencer was, I mean, the dude was in a panic out there. Throwing interceptions, fumbling. Yeah. Throwing shit bits out on the field. It was not good.
Well, here's the bad part. He did it the previous year. So what made you think he wasn't going to do it this year? And when he did it this year, you had a 5-star recruit behind him that I'm pretty sure you know what he could do in practice.
Right.
You put him out there. And the one play when he ran 65-yard touchdown
already. Fans had been screaming for Caleb Williams for weeks already. They just barely won that Tulane game 40-38, remember?
Yeah.
And that was supposed to be in New Orleans.
I know.
And it ended up being in Norman because of the hurricane. And they literally won 2 games that year. And they almost won a third one in Norman, of all places.
Hey, I had tickets to that ball game, man, and it got canceled, so I couldn't go. I guarantee you, if that game was in Tulane, I think Oklahoma would have lost that game.
Oh, there's no doubt they would have lost that game.
And everybody would have went crazy.
Caleb in this Superman stuff at Kansas, they would have lost there too. When he pulled the ball back out of Eric Gray's chest.
Jason, I was at that game. Trust me.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in the stands going crazy because we're witnessing something that you got all this talent and you're letting Kansas. And I mean, Kansas just manhandled.
If they don't get that first down there, if he doesn't pull that ball back out of his stomach, and how he did it, I still struggle with that one. But if he doesn't do that and go get that first down right there, they lose because they run the clock out.
Oh, yeah. But I think Lincoln saw the writing on the wall, and I think he had to get out then because if he'd have came back the following year, he wouldn't have had no job nowhere else.
Yeah,
that 6 and 7 would have been on Lincoln Riley versus being
that season was coming whether it was BV there or Lincoln there.
Man, look,
no 2 ways around it.
I love BV, man, and like I said, I think Oklahoma is in a damn better position than they were then.
Oh God,
I would, and I guarantee you can ask any OU fan, and they'll be honest with you. If you had Lincoln Riley going into the SEC this year,
death.
Would there be? Well, for one thing, those guys that came back wouldn't have came back.
Facts.
They would have left. Lincoln would have got exposed big time in the SEC because he's already scared of the possibility of his offense don't work in the SEC.
Yeah, Benji says, wait, 6 and 7 with Caleb. Come on. I didn't say necessarily with Caleb Williams, but hey, they went 7 and 5 with him at USC last year.
I'll say it for you, Jason. They can get mad at me. They went 6 and 7.
Yeah, listen. If Caleb Williams hangs around and stays with BV and them, they might have won the Natty last year because it would have been wide open.
Oh,
it would have been wide open.
Those 5 games they lose by 1 possession. He's proven that he can make 1 possession by himself.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, maybe they don't go 6 and 7 then that year. Look, there was times though that I felt like a lot of it was just they didn't know what they were doing on defense, and a lot of that had to do. You trying to reteach the difference in what Grinch does and what they do now, and not to mention the strength and conditioning and all that stuff. That's a lot of it as well. But the sophistication of the defense is a lot. And for, Stutzman and those guys, the guys that are still there, it took all of them time to understand it. And it was tough. It was tough, But on top of that, they had zero depth.
I think Sooner in Texas made a damn good point.
If you were having a private conversation with Caleb Williams, he would admit he made a mistake following Tebow to USC. He would have been better off staying. He definitely would have been better off staying in Oklahoma. And I'll tell you another thing, Sooner in Texas. This is a great statement. I think that maybe he would. I don't know, though. He went and won a Heisman Trophy, and he went number 1 overall. So I wouldn't say that it was terrible for Caleb, And look, he went to OU and to USC to work with Lincoln Riley. But I'll tell you this. Think about what you've heard from Baker Mayfield in the last couple of years. He loves Lincoln. But he even says he's made it hard on himself. He's made it hard on himself.
I just think if he would have stayed at Oklahoma, there was no doubt that they would have at least went to the playoffs.
Oh, for sure. And I will say this. I think Caleb Williams would have gotten better in ways like last year was not a good year for him. It wasn't good. It felt like he regressed a little bit. You can tell he doesn't read defenses very well. And that hero ball stuff, that's a bad habit to get into. And he's entrenched in it at this point that he thinks he can go win the game by himself. Look, I think he's great. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen in college. But I'm going to tell you this. You can't get away with that shit that he was doing playing that hero ball in the NFL. All those guys are NFL guys.
Can you imagine a 275-pound linebacker that runs a 4.45?
4.45. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You won't outrun him.
There and see how long that lasts.
And fellas, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and fellas, just think about it. His whole premise is that because he was the Heisman Trophy winner, he took it all on his shoulders as if he could manufacture wins, and that's not how you win at this college game. So his whole thing about pressing, and then you got a defense that he had to cover for. Yeah, it was no winning over there.
Well, and on top of that, I mean, I've told you guys this before too. Hell, Lincoln didn't make it easy on him either. I look, how do you not get him some simple throws, slants? Hey, off that third step in your drop, the ball comes out. Caleb, get it out. Run some easy routes for him to hit. Get him in rhythm. He never did that. It seemed like. On top of that, you've got Lattimore. Probably the best running back in the country. It was either him or Brooks.
Facts.
And dude he averaged 8 yards a carry, and he got 10 carries a game. It's unfreaking fathomable to me why you would do that. And this is Lincoln Riley we're talking about. It's like he was obsessed with trying to get him a second Heisman. And
that was pride.
I just don't understand it. Yeah,
well, that's when Caleb got to step up if he's the leader of the team and tell him it don't have to go through me.
Yeah,
It don't. I mean, you've already proven. I mean, what were we saying? We were saying he was number 1 pick before he even played one game. We already knew he was number 1 pick. So you ain't got to go out there and prove this.
No doubt. Oh yeah, he was clearly. Clearly the best player in college football the last 2 years.
There was no, well, so-and-so is better than Caleb Williams. We knew from day one who was going number 1.
Hey, listen, had he started his freshman year from game 1 on, he might have won the Heisman as a freshman.
He would have been probably the first freshman to do it.
Mm-hmm. True freshman. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He could have, because look at what he did. The dude just, it got better every week. Well, I don't know that you could really, what he did in that Texas game, though, think about that. They go into that, you assume they would have won the same games, right? But think about that. That's another thing too that we were saying. When you start, no way that Lincoln did that. Think about this. He didn't want to commit to Caleb Williams the week after Red River.
No, he didn't.
What the fuck? It was like, bro, they will freaking burn your house down if you put Spencer Rattler back in the fucking game.
Did you see what happened when they brought him in for the 2-point conversion?
Yeah.
They were booing him.
Oh, yeah. They hated. Listen, and that's one thing. I think that Oklahoma fans were pretty rough on Spencer. But I also know that Spencer kind of earned a lot of that shit. He's been an asshole since he was a kid. You know, if anybody that's watched the guy on the Netflix show, I know I was watching it before he got to OU. I was like, why the hell are we recruiting this kid? Why? I didn't never seen the leadership in him. I think he improved it a little bit the last few years at South Carolina. He had some good games. He's definitely got arm talent, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't.
Hey, Jason.
I don't get the. Go ahead.
I'm 45 minutes away from Columbia, South Carolina, and we go down for some of the clinics, coaches talks, and things like that. And I can say, and they can say what they want to say. He's an arrogant little shit.
Yeah,
he knows when he
hasn't really changed.
When he went there, he was going there off what he did at Oklahoma. If I'm a teammate, you got to come in there and prove it here. You're not just going off tape from where you came from.
Well, I mean, shit. Beamer didn't have anybody else, though.
I mean, I get that, but you know, when he came here, man, we see him all the time out here on the golf course and everything, and everybody think he's the greatest kid, but you know, they don't know the Spencer Rattler from Oklahoma. Nope.
And there's stories, you see them all the time about he would. Well, they said when the first day he walked into the locker room as a freshman, he was telling Kyler Murray how he was going to take his job.
I heard about that.
The fuck?
The winningest quarterback in high school history. You gonna tell him that,
bro? Yeah, the dude lost in 5 years as a starting quarterback in Texas 6A. He lost one football game. Like, bro, shut up. You know what I mean? Like, what's the matter with you?
Yeah.
He beat both of them, actually.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
He beat both of them, Clemson and Tennessee that year.
Those were his best games.
They were. And look, there's no doubt that he's got as much arm talent as anybody in the NFL right now. But it's not just about that kind of stuff. Plus, he's a statue. I don't think it's going to work out very well. I know they seem to love him in New Orleans, but I don't think it's going to work out that well.
He's going to have to get him.
Not a leader, man. Bishop Frank,
get around some of that veteran NFL players.
They're not going to put up with that shit.
They're, man, look.
He's going to have to earn it. Yeah, he's going to have to earn it. And he knows that this is a totally different league. And the NFL is not for long if you don't take care of your business and you don't study.
Yeah. Benji just got timed out for that little smart ass comment. Don't be even ever saying anything about CW going to Texas.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, man, you better
he had to get a timeout for that, man. That's a minute out. You got to stay out for that.
Trying to throw strays in the gumbo. Man, you better get them
up in here, man. I don't care if you're a member or not. Ain't no way that works. Yeah, you said attended K-State OU the COVID season game, and I thought he was going to play like Kyler would. Man, was I wrong? Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, and we saw what he did in the Cotton Bowl against Florida. He was great, but it just was few and far between those games with Spencer. You know, I'll tell you this: one thing that you could always This is why you knew something was wrong with Lincoln, though, that last year, is that, man, we saw it with Jalen Hurts. Because Jalen's he's not that ultra, accurate guy. He's not. And first off, that's not his game either. But Lincoln, you realize how often he put him and like protected him from himself that year that he was at OU. They had that comeback against Baylor, and he was terrible that whole first half. And missing wide open CeeDee Lamb, Theo was wide open a lot that game. It was awful. And then what did he do? He just made it easy. Let him roll out and hit short passes. It's the same thing that they do with him when they're successful at Philadelphia, is what Lincoln was doing. But you weren't seeing that kind of stuff with Spencer. And even, like I said, that damn Bedlam game, he ran the same play at least 6, 7, 8 times at the end of that game. And every time, Caleb was running for his damn life. He didn't want to win the game because he knew he doesn't get to take the USC job then.
Well, think about it, Jason. The whole thing about it is the defense didn't have to change their defense. They knew what was coming. By the second time you run it, it's like,
absolutely. It was the same, but they didn't even try to disguise it, Bishop Frank. It looked the same motion every time. Every time.
Hey, Jason,
they still almost scored and won. Shit. He was that guy, man. Caleb was that guy.
Yeah, that was a glitch.
Is there any truth to the rumor that's out there that Bill Beambo and him got into it during the Bedlam game?
You know what? I hadn't really heard that. It wouldn't surprise me though.
Well, like I said, my brother.
I'm surprised that freaking like guys like, any of these coaches that were with him at that time that are still there. It wouldn't surprise me if anyone would have kicked his ass after that game.
Well, it was just something that something that was said. My brother-in-law was talking about this conference and everything, and everybody loves Bill Beambo. I think everybody is still. Everybody's trying to call OU so they can get speaking to him and things like that. And I think my brother-in-law had brought it up is that the funny thing is that a rumor was surfacing that Bill Beambo and Lincoln used to always get into it because Lincoln wanted to run one thing, Bill wanted to run one thing, and it was just
run the ball. Yeah, I could see that.
Because when they ran the ball against Oklahoma State, they were very effective.
Mm-hmm.
But then they started passing the ball, and then that's when Caleb started running for his life.
Yep.
So,
well, you think about that last play, even in the Red River game. If you think about that, now he broke it for a touchdown, but think about that for a second. Why do you run a draw there with like 10 seconds left?
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? Most times you should be probably throwing in that. Now, don't get me wrong. Nobody really questions it because he scored.
Yeah.
But he scored as the clock was expiring. You do realize this, right?
Yeah.
That they were going to go to overtime if not. But
most coaches are trying to position the ball in the middle of the field.
He was not trying. Yes. They didn't have any timeouts left.
Yeah.
That was if you go back and think about that for a second, he didn't want to win that game. I think he figured if he wanted to go to, if they got it to overtime, maybe they blow it.
Damn, Jason, you onto something. You onto something.
And I've paid attention to that shit a lot. And you think about everything, and I may be wrong about some of it, but I'm just saying there's certain signs that we saw that.
Well, you saw the difference between last year. Even though he's no longer here, the play calling last year, they were going for the win. They wasn't going for to kick the field goal and then let's just go up by 2.
Yeah.
They were going for the win.
It was so dumb a lot of times. That Colorado game, they should have lost that, and they were ahead by 17 in the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden you don't run the ball the entire last 3 minutes of the third and the entire fourth quarter. They didn't run the ball one damn time. against the worst defense in the Pac-12.
Jason, what's what's Lincoln Riley memo? Get up by 21, and then let the team come back, and then we'll try to figure it out how to do it.
Yeah, he did it against Tulane in the Cotton Bowl.
He did it 3 times.
Did it against Utah. Yeah, hey, once Utah got, when Cam Rising got hit like that, got his helmet knocked off.
Wow.
It woke his ass up. And next thing you know, they were beating the crap out of Caleb Williams.
Yeah. But that's the first time that someone
Coach Witt is that dude though too, man. Coach Whittingham, those teams are
he's like BV. He is one of those coaches that you're gonna have to beat me. I'm not gonna give it to you. We're very disciplined, we're very sound. You're gonna have to beat me. But they were very physical with USC as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's how you beat them. Just go rough them up. They're soft. I've been saying it, man. They were soft at the end of the first year there. They weren't as soft as they got by the next year. Right? They still had some of those guys left over from Helton. So it hadn't fully taken. And then the thing is Caleb's not soft. He's a dog. He's a dog. But man, Lincoln soft.
What was it? The P90X machine is what they had?
Yeah. Oh, Benny Wiley. Old Benny Tybo Wiley.
I never understood that, man. I never understood that. We're not trying to tone the players. We're trying to build mass.
Yeah.
I never understood that.
They're ripped up though, man. These kids, have you seen some of the photos of these guys on Twitter and stuff?
Facts. They built by fire.
Yeah, look, Reggie Powers and dude, Billy, they're chiseled up. They just look nasty. It's night and day different than what it was like when Lincoln was here. Yes, there's bad blood. We hate the dude. Believe that. It's not because we wish he was still coaching at Oklahoma. Believe that.
The bad blood is more internal.
Yeah.
We've all had job offers and we've all left jobs and didn't want to leave, but there's a way you do it. I'm an old-fashioned guy. I'm a man about my craft. If I'm going to leave, I can look in your face and tell you I'm leaving because it's better for me and my family.
Benji, are you serious? You just out here saying any old thing today. On the real, we wouldn't have wanted Caleb. We'll continue taking lumps than welcome a player from the enemy of the team. Shut up, dude.
Is Benji a Texas fan?
Yes, you're lying through your teeth, bro. Now you're just lying.
wasn't they the main one talking about we want Caleb before the ball game, and then you got Caleb?
Huh?
Wasn't they the one talking about we want Caleb before the ball game, and then Caleb got in the ball game, and they got Caleb?
Yeah.
Be careful what you wish for.
Y'all would have freaking I'll tell you this. I think Sark is smart enough that he would have taken him in a heartbeat. A heartbeat. And you do realize that Lincoln was tampering with Xavier Worthy every year that he was at Texas.
They almost had Xavier.
Twice they almost had his ass.
They've almost had him.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I'm hearing is they ran out of scholarships. That's the reason why they couldn't get him. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know but they almost had him.
Mm-hmm. We pressured Sark to drop Stoops higher immediately. What? What Stoops higher? Yeah, they would have loved that. In fact, that's the other thing. You would have loved that just for the trolling purposes. Y'all would have loved it. Stop acting brand new or acting like I'm brand new. Come on. They would have been acting the full Jimmy Lee, no doubt. What? Explain that? Oh, Mike. Yeah. Did he? What? No way. I know he's there coaching with Mark now, but that's wild. I didn't know that. Man, hold on a minute though. And Bevo's bodyguard saying that 5-7 Texas. You realize that 5-7 Texas team had the lead in 6 straight games that year and lost it at the halftime lead. 6 straight games. Don't start with me on this, bro.
They had the lead at halftime on every one of those games.
Every one of them until the K-State game at the end of the year that they somehow found a way to win. They just kind of had K-State's number for whatever reason. They couldn't beat Kansas, but they beat K-State. y'all were losing to West Virginia and shit. Eek, it was bad. I didn't realize that was the fact. I didn't. Okay. I do remember that part. So
I thought that he was at.
I guess I didn't hear all that.
I thought he was at a Florida school as a defensive coordinator.
Who? Mike? He'll never get another coordinator job.
I'm telling you,
he's coaching linebackers with Kentucky. Even his brother didn't make him the coordinator.
It was before last year. He was like at Florida Internet. I mean, it was a Florida team that he was on their staff.
Yeah, Neilio. So did Sark. Well, he was in Washington. Neilio telling stories over here. Now, I don't doubt any of that because coaches are wild, but the slower Stoops. Yeah, he was the wild Stoops, man. He'd lose his damn mind. I've seen Bob get really pissed off at times. Never like you would see Mike Stoops losing his shit. Whether it was in the freaking press box or down on the field, he was wild. The slower Stoops. That's funny, man. Sure was.
All right, fellas, here's a question for you.
Sure.
Let's say USC goes 7-5. You think they fire Lincoln?
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah, I think 7-5 gets him gone. He's out.
How much is that? How much is that buyout?
I think all of it, but
yeah, all of it.
I think it's.
So we got another. So we got a Jimbo 2.0.
Yeah. I mean, they have that kind of money though. It's like I said, out of the schools that have the most billionaires out of the top 10, I think they're number 9 in the country. The only ones that are in front of them are all Ivy League schools. They've got more money than Notre Dame, and Notre Dame has a shit ton of money.
I never believed that we don't have money scenario from any college team that's a Power 5. I just don't, because the alumni and where you live, and plus being in California, trust me, you have money.
They bought him that house on the beach and like paid off 2 other houses, the houses that he had in Oklahoma, and another one. They bought houses for him. I mean, multiple houses, plus gave him $110 million. You mean to tell me that they're not paying NIL money if that's not the problem?
Yeah.
Now, there may be an issue with what they're doing with it, or how whoever's running that collective or whatever. But that doesn't even seem right to me. Listen, I'm not somebody to like. I believe what USCJ tells me because I know that he grew up 5 minutes from USC. He knows what his grandmother worked at USC. So I know he knows what he's talking about, and he knows guys that are there that know some stuff. But I don't think that they're telling everybody the story no matter what. I think that some of the stuff is just what do they call it? Disinformation, and it's something ain't right there, because you don't pay a guy that kind of money and then not support him. I'll tell you what I think's going on. I think Jen Cohen knows that he's not the guy. She didn't hire him. She doesn't give a shit. And she's a USC alum, by the way. She's a hell of an athletic director. I think she's Matt Ince is the next head coach there. He's already there.
Oh yeah.
She already got him there in the house to You know, whatever happens, happens. If they don't win probably 9 or 10 games, he's gone.
Man, I just don't think
that's my belief. I don't know that. I mean, this is not. I'm not hearing anything or anything like that. I'm just telling you. At USC, they've been waiting long enough, and they're not going to keep waiting. When they can see what you are, and they know. Listen, they were in on it. They did the same damn thing with Lane Kiffin when he was at Tennessee. They throw their money around to poach a coach like that, and then but you're disposable to them. Absolutely disposable. If Clay helped Bumbo, let me ask you this. And I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I know anything in particular. They have not had an athletic department like what they have right now. Jen Cohen is a winner. She's not there to freaking wait around on Lincoln Riley. She didn't hire his ass. She hired the right guy that year, Kalen DeBoer at Washington. I mean, I'm telling you, the leash is short now. And now he's at Big Ten Media Days throwing SC under the bus. That's not going to last very long. You better win.
That was career suicide when he did at the media.
I couldn't believe he said that. I couldn't believe. I mean, I know he likes to freaking make excuses. I could not believe he said that.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Well, he already knows that if he doesn't do good and they fire him, he gets all that money and then he can just go to the NFL.
What's up? Ryman Lemon. Yeah. No, I think that's the whole. That's the dumbest thing I've heard so far. You realize I watch those shows and watch you guys lose your shit after all those losses last year. You do know that, right? And I've watched all you guys losing your shit on Prangley's show and, you know, the Voice of College Football and stuff, losing it over these recruits decommitting. Don't tell me nobody cares about college football like Oklahoma, to be honest, because that's not true. That's not true. And that's not even true about USC. We know that you don't care about them when they're not winning because you don't show up at the Coliseum. We've seen that. We see pictures. You know what I mean? But I watched freaking Keyshawn lose his shit about Clay Helton. Publicly, I've had enough. He's got to go. And what happened the next week? They fired his ass. Don't tell me y'all don't care about it. You're crazy, man. Come on now. Yeah, travel over to Columbus, Ohio. They're definitely a bandwagon school. I'll give you that part. They'll say stupid shit like, you know, there's a lot of stuff to do in California. No, that wasn't the case whenever Pete was there. That place was full. Hell, the Rams didn't fill it up that much with that year those couple of years that they played there. Yeah, Key's invested. Yeah. Dodgers and Lakers. Well, USC, you're going to tell me USCJ isn't invested in that stuff like that? And the guys, look, the alumni are absolutely invested in it. Absolutely invested in it. And they got all the money. Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah, it's if CCP was the halftime performance, they'd show. No comment, but that's funny. During what time? Yes, they were. They were just, yeah, when they went back and when they first got back, I went and watched the Niners and the Rams when I was still in Vegas at the Coliseum. All right. Appreciate you, Bishop Frank. Thanks for coming in, man. You got to get out of here. Is that what you were saying? Yeah, it's not now. Yeah. Plus, well, that's the thing is they're quick to bounce. They're quick to not care. They're definitely fair weather fans. But I can tell you, I mean, I never went to a game in the Coliseum whenever they were in their heyday with Reggie and all those guys. But I mean, I watched lots of games on TV. The joint was always full. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's weird. Yeah, you've been on this show for a while, right, Bumbo? You'll pop in here a lot, and most of the time you get really pissed off at me when I'm talking shit about Lincoln. Now you know it's true, but now you're telling me that that nobody cares about it. That's funny. Thanks for coming in, Bishop Frank. Appreciate you.
Take care, Bishop.
Yeah, man. There's people that will go and watch it, and there's some people that will always go. But I mean, look, not every I will say this: not every fan base is like Oklahoma or Nebraska. And Nebraska, look, for everything that Nebraska's gone through, I don't know that OU would still be filling the seats up for that shit. I don't know that they would be. It is a pro city for sure. LA's a different city, man. There's no doubt about it. And they're kind of fickle when it comes to that stuff. And definitely professional cities are different, man. You know what I mean? I would ask you, Neilio, what do you think about like that Kansas game that's going to be at Arrowhead? Aren't they playing Colorado at Arrowhead? Do you think they'll fill Arrowhead up? I'm nice to Lincoln. Are you shitting me? Well, yeah, I'm not very nice. I tell the truth about him. I just don't spend every day talking about the cat like some guys we know. But Neilio, do you think those guys end up will they fill up Arrowhead for that? Yeah. No. They might have 50,000 or a little more. That's actually, I mean, for Kansas, that's pretty good. If K-State was to play there, would they fill it? K-State's always good about traveling too, man. That's a good fan base in Manhattan, to be honest with you. I'll tell you what, though, there's nothing like going to the Fog when it comes to college basketball. Whew. The Fog was amazing.
Hey, Jason.
Yeah.
I will let that listener know that Charlotte is a pro city. Yeah. And when we have high school games, South Carolina versus North Carolina schools, they go to the stadium. And I can tell you, there are pretty much more people at the high school games than there's the pro games. So it doesn't really matter about the city. It's just the fan base. If you love football, you will go to support it. If it's high school, college, NFL, that's just the way it is. So I remember back when the Coliseum was always packed. You had your rappers there. You had your superstars there. You had your movie stars. Everybody was always there.
Snoop Dogg and shit down there catching passes and stuff from them. Yes. I remember all that stuff. Yeah.
So I think it's just falling off. I think they thought that Lincoln would bring that back. And now that they see that he's not that, now they're going to move on to someone else. This is all there is to it.
Right.
But the fan base is the fan base. I mean, you have a stadium that holds 86,000. And when you got 40,000 coming for a high school game, that's a lot of people for a high school game.
No doubt. Well, you think about Texas. I mean, you think about Texas high school football. Texas high school football is on another level of most anywhere else. I mean, they build $100 million stadiums for high schools. You know, they just do.
There are high school teams that have better stadiums than college teams.
Most colleges, yeah. Melissa, you've seen that one that Nigel Smith went to high school in Melissa, right? Have you seen that stadium? They had that drone flyover that they recently did, and he was showing it off before he came to Oklahoma. It's insane. That's a 5A school, I think, 4A or 5A. Huge, amazing stadium. Amazing stadium. And I mean, they're not like a real powerhouse. They're pretty good, but they're not. They haven't like won state championships or anything that I know of.
Well, that's why everyone wants to get the players from Texas. I mean, you have it all. Yeah. What's the highest? Is it what, 7A, 6A?
6A, but they have 2 divisions of it. So there's the big classes all have 2 divisions. So it splits. It doesn't split until you get to playoff time, because it'll go by whoever the playoff bracket that has the most enrollment that year will be Division 1, and then you'll have Division 2, 6A, and all the way down. I think, I don't know that it goes all the way down, but I know for sure in the big classes it does.
Okay.
So they have 2 state champions in 6A. They have 2 in 5A. One year you might be Division 2, but it's all based on just on enrollment for the year, you know?
Yeah.
So it's wild, man. It's even that with 6A, I mean, who's to say it could end up, they could go to another class at any time, because it's just, there's that many people. Texas is huge, and it's just got a lot of schools, and they're growing in schools all the time too. Like where Michael Hawkins played, Frisco Emerson, that school's like 5 years old. They went to the semifinals in year 4. You know, that it was their first senior class is when he took them to the semifinals, and they played South Oak Cliff. I mean, they played them tight, but I mean, it's a brand new program. But Frisco is blowing up that whole area.
Well, that's what we had to get used to when we moved here. We moved from a 2A little small school in Oklahoma, and then to move here to Charlotte to a 5A was night and day. You got a school that's 2,000 kids in Oklahoma, but then you move here and one school is like 13, 14,000 kids.
Mm-hmm. So
it's a step up. So, you know, Texas has always been that beast when it comes to football. Plus everything, man, in Texas, man, you basketball, football, I mean, baseball, everything. I mean, that's where you want to go get your best players.
No doubt, man. Well, and it's funny, you'll hear stories from guys that, you know, I think it was I don't know, maybe it wasn't the Stash. Somebody was telling me there was a guy that played college football, maybe like Division 2 or something. He was like, man, played with the guys that played in Texas, and they were like, or maybe I saw this on YouTube somewhere, but he was like, I played in certain places or whatever, but he ended up playing at like a smaller school or whatever. And he was like, man, I played in front of bigger crowds when I was in high school than I played in college, you know? Wild, dude, just wild. And yeah, you're right. Like Benji was talking about here. Yeah, it's no joke over there either, right? Katy and the Woodlands and all that stuff. Shoot, they've got some really good football teams down there.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah, the Melissa deal with Melissa. Yeah, it's wild. You're gonna be in Frisco? What are you doing out there? You playing golf? What? PGA. What are you doing? You going out there to play golf there, Jimmy Lee? DFW is a different story though. Yeah, it's huge. It's in I mean, like look at the Denton schools. I mean, it's just Ty talks about it all the time. The place is insane. It's insane up there. And that's where Coach was at, coaching at, you know, he coached at Skyline. And that was in the same, they were in the same districts as like Dallas Carter. Coach's teams were the first team from Skyline to beat Dallas Carter in 35 years. Nobody was beating them. They were unreal. But now I mean, I don't know what they're about at this point. They still get players and stuff, but these other schools, I mean, and like Joey McGuire, he won 3 state championships. Where was he at? It was shit, it's right on the tip of my tongue too. But I haven't heard really much out of them lately since he left. Allen's kind of fallen off a little bit. Hawkins was playing at Allen, and then something happened over that. Well, and you know who's coaching at Allen now, right? Is Tad Morris is over there coaching now. Or he was.
Yeah. Well, Allen is well known.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, they won 4 straight state championships when
Yeah.
Kyler was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but Southlake Carroll's not what they were whenever, you know, when Bryles was there either.
But it's just a history of Texas. You know, you can look at it, and each division, each whatever you want to call it, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A on up, everybody has their tradition when it comes to Texas football.
Nice. Yeah, dude. Texas football is a different animal. Texas high school football is different. And even in the rural areas, you start getting away from the cities, even 2A, 1A schools, the town literally locks up everything. The entire town will leave and go watch the game 100 miles away, wherever it is. Some of the best football I watched when I was a sports writer in Texas was the 2A, 3A games. Hard hitting, nasty. When Coach got here to Hobbs, he'll hate it that I tell you this story. When he got here to Hobbs, he played Andrews. That's where Jeff Levy went to school. And I knew that was a bad idea because they never play them. And we're talking about they're about 60, 80 miles away maybe. But it's really close by. And they don't ever play them. There's a reason why. They play them in basketball and all these other sports. They don't ever. This is a basketball town. And he played Andrews. I was like, oh, that's going to be bad. And they got the shit kicked out of them. Just blown out. And Andrews was like a 3A school. Beat the brakes off of Coach and them.
Wow.
Yeah. It was. And I mean, they're kind of good. That's where Levy played. I mean, they've got some good players and stuff over there, but they're not like state championship caliber, or they don't really go super deep in the playoffs that I know of very often. Well, because I was at Midland, I was at the newspaper in Midland for a while, and like that's where Permian and from Friday Night Lights is in Odessa Permian. Then Midland is 20 miles away. Midland Lee. It's where Cedric Benson went to school, and some other guy. What was that other freaking lineman? Eric Winston. You remember Eric Winston? That was the lineman for the Texans for a long time.
Yeah.
He went to Miami. He was a stud. The guy was a bad dude, but yeah, man.
Well, the movie was based off the Texas football, correct?
Yeah. No,
Friday Night
Lights. Yeah, Permian, Odessa Permian. That was a real thing. I mean, that was the book was the guy that wrote the book. Why am I blanking on his name all of a sudden? And matter of fact, I went out there the year after they made the movie is whenever I got the job at that newspaper out there. And so they had been filming that movie it had just come out whenever I got there. The movie had just come out. So, yeah, but I read the book when I was a kid. And my high school in New Mexico is very similar. I mean, it's for what it is in New Mexico. That's where Landry Jones went to school. We won 32 state championships, but it's few and far between like that. Texas, it's like that everywhere. It's like that everywhere. It's just a different deal. Now, West Texas is kind of not doing it the same anymore. You know, we got that kid from Odessa High School, which is the same town as Permian. And they've kind of taken over as the best team in that city. But they're not that good. You know. That's where that big receiver came from. Why Why do I always forget that kid's name? I don't have no idea why I always forget his name.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out now where my nephew's going to go. They just moved to Dallas,
Give
and I think
Ruby the
he's
ball.
a sophomore in high school, and we're trying to figure out which school he's going to go to.
Where at? Where at? In Dallas?
Yes.
Okay. Where part do they live in?
I have to get with my niece and find out, but they just moved from here. They just moved from California, and then they came here for a while. Military kid. So we're trying to figure out if he's going to stay here on the East Coast or he's going to go down where his dad is in Fort Hood. So we don't know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So you live in the Woodlands, or where are you at? What area are you in there, Benji? I'm gonna go up. Dallas just built on entrepreneurship and all. Yeah, hey dude, that stuff is those PGA courses. I've been hearing those are cool up there. You can rob a bank in Davis. So from the high school play. No, that's absolutely right, Jay. I'm telling you, little towns like Monahans, all these little oil field towns that are around Odessa and Midland. I mean, they're little specks on the road. I mean, it's literally not very big. Andrews itself, I think it's a 3A, 4A school, maybe. They have maybe 15,000, 20,000 people in the town, but it's a small little city. And believe me, when they go over to Lubbock or go play Friendship or something like that outside of Lubbock, nobody's in Andrews anymore. It shuts down. Stanton, little places like that. I mean, we're talking places that might have 2,000 people, something like that. It's wild, but that's exactly how it is. And if you've seen, well, you got Friday Night Lights, but you see more of that on what was Varsity Blues, where they show the buses going all those places, and they literally shut the whole town down. They just do. Odessa and Midland have over 100,000 people in both of them. It doesn't happen like that as much, but there's a lot of people in the game at those games. That stadium, the Permian, the one that Ratliff Stadium, there for Odessa Permian, it's huge. And then Midland built, I don't know what it's called now, but it was called Grande Communications Stadium after that. They built it right in the same area. You know how all the big cities are doing the baseball park and the football stadium when they do these builds and stuff, they do it all in one place. They did that with the AA baseball team and the high school stadium, the high school football stadium in Midland. It's insane. They got oil money. Yeah.
Just ask my niece. It's Cedar Crest. Is where
Cedar Crest. That's where Joey McGuire coached.
That's where they're moving to.
Okay. That's a good program.
Well,
it's a good program.
He's a good kid, but you know what, man? Like I said, they're 3A down here, so I don't know what that division is down there. But like I said, he's a good kid, but
it's a big school.
Yeah, that's what he's scared of. So we don't know.
I don't know. Joey McGuire may have been at Cedar Hill. I got him now. I would have to look. But Cedar Crest. So let me look. Cedar Crest, Texas. Man, it's hard to keep up with all those. I mean, there's so many big schools.
Well, the reason I was asking because he's starting here, but like I said, I don't want him to move down there and then the new kid at a new school. You're going to be pretty much on the back burner until you let your talent show up and everything, or your hard work show up. Then you might get a chance.
That's actually a nice. So let's see. That's. Yeah, Wynnewood, and that's actually a good place. I was trying to look and see what all the high schools are around there. Get a little closer here. I don't know. Man, if Coach was in here, he'd be able to tell you exactly where it is. I get lost when I go around there. It's so big now. But it's like South Dallas, Cedar Crest. Near Oak Cliff, it's right next to Oak Cliff. Wolf Creek. That's a nice area. Yeah, it's a good spot. It's a good spot. So, let me look up where Coach McGuire was at. Yeah, 3 of them. Let's see. Cedar Hill is where you went. Cedar Hill.
Yeah. I think they were looking at
In
Skyline.
Crowley. It's near Crowley, right? No, he went to Crowley High School. Let me see. Cedar Hill. Yeah, dude. That's that area right around where South Lake Carroll and stuff is at, actually.
Okay.
South Lake Carroll was awesome back in the day. They were real good.
But we'll be down there sometime next week. We're going to figure out where we're going to let him go to school at, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I think. Look, so you said he's a good sized kid.
6'2", 215.
And what grade is he in?
He's a sophomore.
Okay. 6'2", 215.
Yeah, plays linebacker and receiver.
And he's a sophomore. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll get you in touch with Coach. I'll ask Coach what he thinks too, and maybe we'll get you guys in touch with some of those guys down there. And
I appreciate that. Yeah, because that's why.
With the Woodlands, really, or I would say to kind of Frisco. I don't think that's really that. Folks, you guys remind me if I'm wrong, because like I said, I get lost down there. I just follow the map.
Well, they come to me because I tend to know a lot of people in places, but I'm very, when it comes to Dallas and Texas and everything, I don't make it that way that often, and I don't want to give them bad news. And I would rather him just stay here and finish out because he's already getting looked at here. But if you go and do the same thing you're doing in Texas, it's a bigger audience.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Listen, you definitely, if he really wants to play, and it just sounds like he's probably pretty good. So if hey man, it can't hurt. It can't hurt for him to go there. But they're living in Cedar Crest. I mean, let me look around for like what's out there. But I'll get Coach to, because south. It's not that far from where South Oak Cliff is. In fact, that's in that city.
Someone had mentioned Skyline, and I didn't know anything about that.
That's where Coach coached at, is at Skyline. I don't think they're the same anymore, man.
All right.
But South Oak Cliff, they've won back-to-back state championships for sure, and that's in Cedar Crest.
Okay.
Coach, one of the guys that coached with Coach at Skyline, though, is the athletic director at Duncanville.
Okay.
I'm not sure where is Duncanville at, folks. Y'all gonna have to tell me because I'm not sure. So you're the head golf coach at Paladuro there, Duke? No kidding. And in Amarillo, huh? That's awesome, bro. Small world, isn't it? Paladuro, Canyon, South Dallas. Yeah, okay. So it's not too far then.
Okay. Well, I'll have them look at this podcast and we can go back over to some of the names and then we can check, because I'll be going out with his mom and then we'll figure some things out for him.
Yeah. Duke Silverstooner said he used to be the AD at Bowie and DeSoto. Okay, so Duncanville, DeSoto, Oak Cliff are all in the same area and they're all powerhouses. So he's in the right area.
I heard about Oak Cliff.
Yeah, they're the ones that beat Michael Hawkins and them in the semifinal, and then they won it again. They're back-to-back champs. And Duncanville's won, I think, 3 in a row now.
Yeah.
No, 2 in a row. They're back-to-back 2. They're gonna win the 3rd though.
Well,
I'm not sure about Oak Cliff, but South Oak Cliff won the 5A, I think Division 1 5A last year, because that's what Frisco was playing in, Emerson. And yeah, man, that's good football right there. That's a good area. I'll see what and coach, like I said, he knows. Well, and I tell you what, you know who's the coach at Duncanville is Rashad Samples' dad.
for real, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Oh man,
That's Samples' dad. So Duncanville's it's really good. Really good.
well,
Oak Cliff is always good. DeSoto's really good too. Yeah, they moved up to 6A and that's what Benji said. They should be playing 5A and they moved up to 6. That's how competitive it is.
Well, I think he's gonna excel anywhere, but he's old fashioned. He likes to.
He wants to play. He wants to competition. That's good. That's what will get him to the next level. Then you know that.
Well, the division that they're playing in, man, he's unmatched. I mean, he needs to go somewhere where he's gonna get challenged, because you and I know if you play lesser competition and then you get to the big place and then you can't show up, then you're gonna be left behind.
Yeah, no doubt.
And you know, so I mean, everything's good on him, but I just want him to go somewhere, man, to where they'll make a young man out of him first and everything. That's the main
doubt.
thing.
Well, and I mean, you know how it is. It's competitive. There's going to be competition, but I'll have Coach get a hold of his buddy at over there, and at least even if he says, you know, maybe he probably shouldn't come here for whatever reason, he when he hears how big he is as a sophomore, he might like him automatically.
Yeah. Well,
and Coach Samples is a hell of a coach. Cool guy too. Awesome dude.
I think what he's looking for, which we all are, is a coach, man, that is going to push him.
Okay.
He don't want me telling this, but his coach he got right now, man, is not really pushing him. He just see talent, and he just get the ball in his hands and let him do whatever, and it's not making him any better.
Well, that's the one thing about these guys is that they're all about winning. So, I mean, if he's able to play, if they think he's able to come in and compete, I would think that, I mean, because that's how I know that's how coaching them are. It's so competitive that, man, if you can get the kid, you want him. So, yeah, definitely. Let me get a hold of Coach. In fact, I need to get out of here anyway. I need to run over to Midland right now. So, but yeah, I think that I think we can definitely, if I don't know what their situation. Obviously, they've got a really good team, because that's where the Alabama kid, the kid that's going to go to Alabama, the quarterback, he went to Duncanville, or he's at Duncanville, and then you had what? That's where that number 1 receiver's at also. That's going to Oregon now, not Texas.
I bet.
Yeah. Yeah, man. They're all that.
All right, man. Well, I'm getting up out of here too, man. I'm gonna get back. I got a conference I gotta take care of here in a few more minutes, man. But I appreciate, man, Jason, man.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming in. Get a hold of me. You got my number, so get a hold of me if you need anything, and I'll get a hold of Coach as soon as Decorian Moore. Yeah, Decorian Moore is going. He's there as well. I don't know as far as that it may be a little tough with school. I don't know. I'll have to talk to Coach, but as far as like playing, you can't go wrong with Oak Cliff either. I'll talk to Coach. He'll be able to point you in the right direction for sure.
All right, man. I appreciate that, bud.
Okay, man. Appreciate you.
Man. Take care, bud.
Right. See ya. All right, guys. Yep, I think man, that's good stuff. Different world in sport in some spots. Yeah, it's dude, and you just kind of don't know. In Dallas, you can kind of pop into a spot, and the next thing you know, you're in a freaking, $10 million house neighborhood, and then you might not be, a block later. So it's definitely different. Man, I appreciate everybody coming in. Good stuff. Yeah, Duncanville, south of the Metro Dallas. Yep, absolutely. Guys, we appreciate everybody coming in, though, man. It's a good talk. we just kind of talked about all kinds of stuff. I'm going to finish this edit real quick so I can post that other video, but I actually need to, yeah. If I don't finish it, it'll definitely be out in the morning because I got an appointment and that's an hour from here. So I need to probably get out of here. But thanks everybody for coming in. I appreciate you guys as always. Make sure you hit that like button. And guys, we're getting pretty close to, let's see where we are now on our subs. Looks like we are 36:43. So we're crawling a little bit. So, man, like I said, we got some stuff coming in. For signing and all that kind of stuff for the giveaway, but I appreciate everybody coming in here and just kind of share us around, man. Help us get to that 4,000 mark. It'd be awesome if we hit 4,000 before the season got started, man. I'd love it. But thanks a lot, everybody, for coming in. Neilio, Jimmy Lee, Urban Engine, Ben G, Duke. Thanks for coming in, Coach. Appreciate you. Let's see. Man, everybody's been in here all day today. Of course, Shoddy and them, Bishop Frank. Appreciate Coach being back in here again as well. Hey, man, this is Coach Ricks, the Chicken, of course. Hey, all my guys, I appreciate all you guys for coming in and spending some time with us. Benji, Center in Texas. Jay Chapman. Man, you guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. Always in here supporting, man. We appreciate that a lot. Make sure you hit that like button. Share us with your friends. It helps us a ton. Gets us on that algorithm, man. I'll update some keywords before I get out of here. But thanks a lot for coming in. We'll see you on the next one.